and just the vibes that he brought and just being able to swing the bat the way he did last year. But I don't know if they're counting on him to produce at like an all-star level over the course of 162, which is what he would have done had his Mariners numbers been over the course of a full season. So I kind of wonder, like, if you don't get those contributions from two of your three biggest names on offense, Julio and JP, like, we're going to be in a very similar boat to what we were in last year. And
that entire outfield looks like, particularly since Rosarena was pretty hot prior to the trade deadline after starting out cool. Obviously, we know who he's been in the postseason, so it was a really exciting acquisition. Again, curious to see a full season. There are, as a fan favorite, you and I both wondered, like, yesterday a bit, would he regress? Is there room to improve? And just settled on, like, I have no real reason to expect that a player that's had 30-plus home runs for 3 consecutive seasons is suddenly, like, that's the version of, that's Cal. He's proven he can do that. There would be no regression. There would just be, do you have injury? Do you have a down year? Let's talk about two of the oldest players on the roster, two players that got a ton of flack last year.
Any positive contribution is better than what they're going to get or what they got from him last year. So I do like that they're not asking as much of those two guys this season, whereas last year everybody was like, okay, Mitch Garver, maybe he'll hit you 30 home runs, and I think now we've all kind of reassessed.
And unless I'm blanking, like, there are times when, you know, DePoto or Hollander will mention a name and you'll go like, oh, you're counting on that guy? I don't think they've volunteered Haniger or Garver as, like, particularly Haniger is like, we really expect. It's mostly been like, we love Cal. We love Julio. We expect more from JP, you know, when he's a little healthier. Like, it's pretty clear who they're depending on.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I did have a listener on the Mac and Jack's text line before we get to headline rewrites. We talked about the rotation, starters. We talked about the lineup. We didn't have anything on the hitting staff, on Dan Wilson. Let's just wrap it up with that. Is there a question that you have lingering when we take a look at that bench?
Well, yeah, the coaching staff, how can you translate the final, 40 games or so of last season into the early portion of the year? Because as we know, and as we learned when we had Mike Petriello on, the science of hitting at T-Mobile Park, the numbers are going to go up during the summer months, and they're going to get suppressed during the early spring and early fall months. So how are they able to simplify things during the hardest months of the year to hit? Because that is going to, as we talk about all the time, like, those wins in April count as much as the ones in September.
Yep.
So you got to be able to stack those early on.
Let's get to headline rewrites.
Extra, extra, read all about it.
Headline rewrites.
We must make headlines.
The real story behind the headlines in today's news with Bubba and Stacy.
Headline number 1, the Jets have officially informed Aaron Rodgers they will be moving in another direction at quarterback in 2025, adding with a tweet, quote, "For everything you've given us the past 2 years, thank you, number 8. End quote. What's the real headline?
And what did he give them exactly?
That remains to be seen.
Try to figure it out.
A lot of headaches.
I mean, maybe a lot of money in promotions and sales and merchandise.
They
Jets
sold a lot of jerseys.
Yeah, they're going to take on $49 million in dead cap by releasing Rodgers. Rodgers, in 2 years with the Jets, played just 18 games. We all know he missed the bulk of that season with an Achilles tear. He went 6-12 in those 18 games, so he gave them 6 wins, I guess. But yeah, it's at 10:45. You and I really wanted to have a conversation we thought was fun about, like, why the experiment failed. And so I know we're not diving into it here, but what did he give?
I'm still trying to figure that out, too.
Genuinely, I think Aaron Rodgers needs the Jets more right now than the Jets do him.
Oh, absolutely.
Which is not how this relationship started.
It's funny because we had heard Aaron Glenn, I think it was a couple of NFL insiders, like, yeah, Aaron Glenn is all about bringing Aaron Rodgers back in 2025. And Aaron Glenn was quick to put a stop to that. That was like his first move as Jets head coach, to be like, all right, Aaron Rodgers, bye-bye. We're more than all right releasing you. Like, we will take this dead cap hit if it means you are not here. We would rather take on $49 million in dead cap, which I think is like maybe third or fourth most in NFL history. Like, that is bad business, but I think the Jets are actually better for it.
Headline rewrites.
Headline 2, the Red Sox late last night signed Alex Bregman to a 3-year, $120 million deal. What's the real headline?
This is probably how a lot of guys felt when Margot Robbie got married. Like, it finally dawned on me. Like, you knew it would never be you, but you thought there was a chance. And when I saw Alex Bregman, like, I'd heard that joke a million times about Margot, and when I saw Alex Bregman sign with the Red Sox, I was like, oh, I get it. We never
we didn't
stood
see
a chance.
No.
But when he was still single,
It's like, hey, maybe. Maybe.
when Margot was out here single, you were like, well, I don't know, maybe she'll see me at a party.
To that point, I always think it's funny because on Instagram you can see who's liked what.
Yeah.
At least when you're on the picture. They used to have a feature where it's like so-and-so like this features and you can see all of them.
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty messy.
Yeah.
But if you click on like a picture of like a movie star like Margot Robbie and it's a picture of her smiling and whatnot and one of your buddies likes it, it's like, bro, she's not going to see that you liked it. Yeah.
Dude, it's not.
like,
I'm so sorry.
You have no chance with her. She's
got a baby now, man.
But I threw a like her way. It's like, yeah, she has 75 million followers.
That's me with Alex Bregman. It's like, oh,
I think have a better roster. And I think Trevor Lawrence could absolutely get a Steelers team to the playoffs. I mean, heck, he took the Jags to the playoffs a couple of years ago. And as for Jacksonville, maybe you take this opportunity to get out from that contract you just gave Trevor Lawrence and then hit the reset button again, because you're now what? I mean, is this Trevor Lawrence's third head coach in 5?
Is there, and
Right.
they know, not only having already, there's like that sunk cost fallacy, but also they know, like, what if we never find someone as talented as Trevor? Like, Trevor hasn't taken us to the promised land, but what if we don't find someone talented as him? Look at the Jets.
Yeah.
Where
Took you to an AFC title game.
Where do the 2024 Eagles stack up against previous Super Bowl winners? And for that matter, how about the 2013 Seahawks? That's coming up next.
The Hot Stove Show, Tuesdays from 7 to 9 p.m.
Cal Raleigh, Gold Glove, won the Platinum Glove. Just an incredible season all the way around.
It's just getting started in a way. You know, you still got things you want to improve on. Never want to be satisfied. Keep that edge to you. Sometimes you look for new swings or new things like that, but you also got to keep that edge to how you approach your off season. Just trying to do as much as you can each day to try to better yourself and get yourself prepared for 162.
Stay up to date on the Mariners offseason. The Hot Stove Show, every Tuesday leading up to spring training.
Hey guys, did you know that half of men over age 50 have erectile dysfunction on some level? Whether you have mild, moderate, or severe ED, West Coast Men's Health can help. We don't prescribe pills and hope they work. Instead, we treat the root cause of the problem with acoustic wave therapy, which breaks down plaque, unclogs arteries, and restores blood flow. We have treated thousands of men across our 11 locations nationwide and have established ourselves as a leader in the industry. So whether you have ED, Peyronie's disease, or suffer from chronic pain, such as neuropathy, carpal tunnel, or Dupuytren's contracture, West Coast Men's Health can help. No pills, no shots, no surgery, just results.
With clinics in Redmond and Tacoma, call West Coast Men's Health at 206-519-6541. That's 206-519-6541. 206-519-6541. Online at westcoastmenshealth.com.
We've all been there, sleepless nights, wondering if your business's security service is really protecting what matters. At Bay Alarm, we can put your security insecurities to bed. Our advanced technology and personalized support ensure you can rest easy knowing we're here for you. BayAlarm.com.
Hey, it's Jason Rance. Our local tax expert Greg Nunn wants taxpayers to know the IRS is now going after older cases very aggressively. If you received Form CP-504 from the IRS, do not ignore it. Be proactive and resolve your situation with Greg Nunn, N-U-N-N, None Better Tax Resolution.
1-877 Cards for Kids. K-A-R-S Cards for Kids. 1-877 Cards for Kids. Donate your card today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. K-A-R-S Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate your car today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car, running or not, can be picked up as soon as the next day. You'll get a maximum tax deduction and a vacation voucher.
1877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, you get coverage options based on how much you want to pay for car insurance. And then you decide how to spend the rest of your money because you're in charge. And right now, you're going to pay for groceries. But you decide what groceries. Just keep in mind you're running out of dishwashing soap. But you decide if you're going to buy that soap. It's just those dishes won't clean themselves, will they? Remember, with Progressive's Name Your Price tool, we'll help you find coverage at a fair price. And then you're in charge. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Heading outdoors or on the water this weekend? Check in with Joey and Nelly on the Outdoor Line from 6 to 8 a.m. every Saturday on Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app.
Protein, protein, protein. Everyone is trying to get protein in their diet, but we need fats too. Healthy fat, that is, like the rich, natural peanut and almond butters found in G2G protein bars. Most bars don't have it because, well, most bars aren't real food or refrigerated. Fortunately for you, we aren't most bars. At G2G, you'll find a balanced helping of protein and healthy fat. The fact that they're delicious is just a bonus. They're fast, easy, and perfect for on-the-go families. G2G protein bars. Find them in the refrigerated section at Costco.
At Sound Pain Solutions, some of the most difficult cases we see are patients suffering from failed back surgery syndrome. Bill is an avid golfer, but his pain got so bad he couldn't play and was considering surgery.
My back was killing me. I could not play any more golf. I could not walk more than half a block. I did not want surgery on my back, and I researched many different ways of getting this fixed. Behind that was horror stories from my friends who had back surgery, but it wasn't worth it, and I just made conclusion to that. There's got to be another way.
I'm Dr. Mark Shelley, a chiropractic neurologist at Sound Pain Solutions. We were able to get Bill back on the course without the risk of surgery. We did this using non-invasive, FDA-cleared procedures like non-surgical decompression, laser, pressure wave, and bioelectrical treatments. Now, Bill is back to playing golf and enjoying life. Schedule a free consultation to learn if you qualify for our non-surgical and drug-free treatment by calling Sound Pain Solutions or visiting soundpainsolutions.com.
Choose the right flooring for your home, right in your home, with Floor Coverings International. They bring a mobile showroom to you, loaded with samples of carpet, LVP, hardwood, laminate, tile, and more. So go see them at the Northwest Remodeling Expo at the Seattle Convention Center February 7th through 9th, or at the Seattle Home and Garden Show at Lumen Field February 20th through 23rd. Earn a $250 gift card good on any project when you book a free in-home consultation. Floor Coverings International, the stars of flooring.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, you're listening to Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
All right. Aaron Schatz wrote a great feature for ESPN ranking every single Super Bowl champion in history.
The postseason. They're
the highest scoring offense in the postseason.
Yeah, the toughest game they had was that Rams game, and even then it still felt like it was very much in their control, and then maybe they were played more like a 12-13 win team. But I still was very impressed by what the Eagles were able to do this 2024 season. I think
39th. The 2024 Philadelphia Eagles, a roster that has just seemed unstoppable.
Bottom half Super Bowl winner.
39th. Now, he's leaning heavily on DVOA, which is, he said, they ranked 13th in offensive DVOA during the regular season, in part because of struggles when quarterback Jalen Hurts was injured in week 16 through 18. So important to note as part of Aaron's performance, like you could say, you know, the 2013 Seattle Seahawks had one of the most dominant Super Bowl performances. They are not 1 or 5. Or even 10.
Yeah.
Because he's looking, might be offensive to some listeners. Consider that they are the only team in the last 15 plus years to be ranked that high.
Yeah.
All of the other teams are, there's the 2004 Patriots and team is in the 90s or earlier.
Right. And the teams that are ahead of them are like the Steel Curtain Steelers. In
85 Bears.
Yeah, 85 Bears, the Cowboys of the 90s. We're ranking off of just personal feeling. I would probably put the 2013 Seahawks a little bit higher just because of how they absolutely dominated the best.
Certainly that all 3 of their losses that season were by a touchdown or less.
Yeah.
And they ranked 10th offensively, 5th in special teams, 1.
Because they got off to a really good start. I think they were 11-1 that year before suffering their second loss. Yeah, the Colts was the only loss in that season, but I think probably by the time we meet with the Broncos in the Super Bowl, I think that will be a satisfactory finish to this season. And lo and behold, they just absolutely black on 5-10 years from now and being like, man, remember how deep that team was?
I know.
Remember how how much crazy talent they had on that roster? Like, just the rest of that roster, the defensive line, the wide receivers, you had Saquon Barkley running for 2,000 yards. Like, it was such a complete effort that it's hard.
The stats to back that up, they are 2 of the worst Super Bowl teams on his list. It doesn't
checks out.
I mean, 2 of the best Super Bowls I've watched, including one of the best Super Bowls I've watched ever. You've already pointed out the top teams, but his number 1, number 2, number 3 teams are teams that were dominating 1991.
I was barely alive for
I was not alive for 2 of them.
Super Bowl,
exactly.
Yeah.
I know of these teams. I know the stats about these teams. I've watched some highlights, but I didn't watch these seasons. However, to some of what they did, obviously they had rare talent. Clearly, right? You're talking like Jerry Rice. You're talking about some of the best players we've ever seen. The 85 Bears, one of the best defenses. And that wasn't the case back then. I don't know. It's just a random thought.
I think it's very fair to look at it that way because you look at sort of our football, like in the majority of our football fandom, which has come, in the 2000s and beyond. But you saw the Cowboys of the 90s have it. It felt like when innovation happened back then, and maybe this is just me kind of being a little ignorant to the era of, or at least just kind of took other teams a little bit longer to play catch up.
Yes. And as multiple texters have pointed out rightfully, we're also talking about 3 teams that played pre-free agency. Free agency has no team
through an entire season. It's almost an unfair expectation. He was off the charts, ridiculous. But that's the kind of prospect he was, right?
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Mike Rowe here with a quick question. Have you noticed the musty smell in your home? I hope not, because damp smells mean that you could have a crawl space problem. That's where Groundworks comes in. They can honestly assess your situation and create a plan to waterproof your crawl space and get to the root cause of the problem. Schedule your free inspection at groundworks.com/row. And while you're there, check out my latest dirty job. It's a good one.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for details.
Hey everyone, G. Scott here. If you're looking to make 2025 your healthiest year yet, sign up for the Safeway Sincerely Health app today. Earn rewards for healthy choices and get discounts on groceries and health products at Safeway stores. Plus, you can track goals and get personalized meal plans. It's never been easier to stay on top of your health. Let's all commit to better wellness today. Download the Safeway Sincerely Health app for free and start the journey to a healthier you.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer? Can we sleep cooler? Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. And now save 50% on the new Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. Plus free home delivery. Ends President's Day. Exclusively at a Sleep Number store near you. Learn more at sleepnumber.com.
Guys, did you know your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED? And right now, Revive Men's Health Seattle will check your testosterone for free. They've helped thousands of men since 2011 feel and perform better. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Schedule your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation today. Call 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
I was in the hospital with my son for 18 months.
When he got injured, I wasn't prepared, but I knew I had to be strong.
When I was told about John's injury, I was in complete shock. I just remember rushing into his room and giving him a big hug and letting him know I was there.
These veterans and families are just a few of the heroes we serve at Homes for Our Troops. For thousands of severely injured veterans, everyday life is filled with barriers.
It was really the little things throughout the house. Counters that you can't roll up to. I had to drag my wheelchair down steps.
I want to help, but he is so determined.
At Homes for Our Troops, we build specially adapted custom homes with features like wheelchair access, roll-in showers, and automatic door openers that allow them to function independently and focus on their recovery and family.
This house is freedom. It's hope. It's a new beginning.
This house has given me my family back.
To learn more, visit hfotusa.org.
Heading outdoors or on the water this weekend? Check in with Joey and Nelly on the Outdoor Line from 6 to 8 a.m. every Saturday on Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app.
The LJ Way is the Lee Johnson Auto Family.
Hello, hello. Welcome to Lee Johnson Auto Family. This is King. This organization's a special one. They call it the Lee Johnson Auto Family, and it's not just a name, it's not just some cliche. They foster an environment for us to become a family, to work together, to really become close, and they show us in a lot of different ways that they do value us. Is it perfect? No, no place is. But I've been very thankful to be here in the almost 10 years and have every plan to stay here for a lot longer and just watch it continue to grow.
He's fun and professional, which explains why so many people visiting Lee Johnson Kia ask for him by name. The LJ Way is the Lee Johnson Auto Family.
Free consultations, no fee guarantees, 5-star reviews. JP Pendergast with Pendergast Law explains the importance of going beyond these familiar offerings.
Accident victims want an attorney, Tom, that satisfies their needs. Someone who handles those needs with the highest degree of care. Pendergast Law offers the no-fee guarantees and free consultations, but these only scratch the surface.
Okay, explain more.
We make sure that every member of our team is genuinely passionate about helping others. Customer service and communication are our top priority. It's how we take care of our clients so they always feel one step ahead of the insurance companies. Our strong reputation for high standards.
Pendergast Law offers the free consultations, the no-fee guarantees, and, of course, they are 5-star rated. But what really makes them different is their genuine passion for helping others. I can't recommend them enough.
If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
That's PendergastLaw.com.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, you're listening to Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
The New York Jets parted ways with quarterback Aaron Rodgers. They announced that in a statement this morning posted to X, saying they met with Aaron and told him their intention was to move in a different direction at quarterback. So now, 2 years with the Jets, that is the cumulative effort from Rodgers. He played just 18 games, 6-12 through 28 touchdowns to 11 interceptions. We are not, Curtis Rogers and I, going to talk about Aaron Rodgers as an option for the Seahawks. We are not even going to talk necessarily about what it means and where Aaron goes and what it means for the Jets. What we are going to talk about, because it's interesting, is not only why the Aaron Rodgers experiment failed and why maybe not a lot of people saw it coming, but another trend that you, Curtis, noticed with the last 3 big quarterback signings.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers to the Jets, Deshaun Watson to Cleveland, and Russell Wilson to Denver. All 3 crashed and burned in epic fashion. And a lot of draft picks were given up for those guys. A lot of dollars were given up for those guys. And none of them paid off in a single playoff appearance. I mean, the Browns did make the playoffs.
Not with Deshaun.
In 23, but yeah, not with Deshaun Watson as their quarterback. That was Joe Flacco helping them
straight
get to
off
the
the
playoffs.
couch.
Exactly. So it is such a risk to go all in for a quarterback. And I feel like one thing that all three of those teams neglected to do was to make sure that all the I's were dotted, all the T's were crossed on their roster before making that trade. Because, look, when you're trading for a quarterback that is, in Rodgers' case, on the final legs of his career, you have a very short window to maximize.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have a decade to get things right. Same goes for Russell Wilson in Denver. Russ was on his, third contract in the NFL. He was, 34 years old and had not really shown signs of improvement over his last couple of years here in Seattle. And the Broncos sought to do that. We could absolutely do that. But also, Tom Brady's Tom Brady.
Well, and importantly, Tom Brady still played like a version of Tom Brady.
Yeah.
There was some adapting that had to happen. I remember reading stories about Bruce Arians having to adapt that offense for Tom Brady's strengths as opposed to, I forget what it was. Was it he wanted to take more downfield shots and Brady, or they won that Super Bowl? But I think Brady threw for 5,000 yards. He was
he had
an
one
MVP
of his best.
finalist.
He had most recently played Deshaun Watson, was on the cusp. He had most recently played Deshaun Watson, was on the cusp of being a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. I think everybody looked at him as one of the best young quarterbacks in the NFL. And then all the lawsuits came out against him, gets suspended from the NFL, and then he got hurt too, I think, at one point in there. And so that to me was just so mind-boggling. I get Cleveland had a good roster, but to go all in and not just sink draft capital resources into these guys, but also give them top of the market money for these guys. I mean, you are setting yourself up for a world of hurt if it doesn't work out to absolute perfection.
Well, and let's talk about where those rosters were good, too. No roster is perfectly complete. I think the 2024 Eagles is one of the most complete Super Bowl teams we've seen in a minute, and you can still find flaws. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers had a really good offensive line.
Yeah.
In fact, the juxtaposition of that offensive line against the Chiefs in that 2020 Super Bowl led the Chiefs to really attack free agency. It was a whole conversation. The Jets are a team with a lot of talent, and I think because of that, we looked at that defense, we looked at the offensive weapons. They had added a lot of new faces to the offensive line, so we thought in theory the offensive line would be good too. I thought they'd be a great run team, and everyone thought they could be a Super Bowl contender. There was no reason to think, they're bereft of talent.
When it was coming at the time of the Patriots, dynasty was over.
Exactly. But what ended up happening is the offensive line couldn't stay healthy. Some of those new faces didn't work out at all, and they were a bad offensive line. So likewise in Denver, who was it that said Russell Wilson isn't going to get sacked or you don't have to worry about getting hit here?
Was it,
some Denver offensive lineman, I forget.
Garrett Bowles or somebody like that?
And he ended up getting a ton of pressure. And again, a lot of that was on him. Russell Wilson has always taken more sacks for his career. But that offensive line and that offense in general ended up
that way.
Well, speaking of quarterbacks, Herm Edwards was on with Brock and Salk this morning, had some really interesting things to say about Gino Smith and some interesting things to say about Kubiak's offense. That's coming up next.
Blue 88 on Brock and Salk.
So this year with the draft, McDonald's been here, right?
Every day at 7:45.
How would you expect that to affect the draft and make it different this
Is going to be fascinating leading up to the draft. These decisions on who they're going to re-sign from the 22 class, we're going to learn a lot of what Mike McDonald wants, and I'm really glad, Salk, that he has had 15 months time on task with John, that they've already made some of these decisions.
Blue 88, answering 3 football questions as only Brock Heward can.
Hey, Brock Heward here for my friends at PCF Group, or People Come First Construction Group, and that's exactly what they did when we made the call a couple years ago. We wanted to redo our outdoor space, wanted to add a deck, an outdoor living, a television, and a kitchen. And PCF Group, wow, they more than delivered. And if you're interested in building a stunning outdoor area like we did, I cannot recommend them enough. Reach out before the good weather arrives, and their schedule, well, it's going to fill up. So whether you're looking for a complete outdoor living space or a very specific project like an underdeck ceiling, deck, patio cover, railings, PCF has you covered. Design now and pay later. In fact, get 12 months, no interest and no payments, and up to $6,000 off and a $1,000 Amazon gift card. Request that complimentary design and estimate consultation today at 206-992-0364, 206-992-0364, or project ideas, explore photos at pcfgroup.com, pcfgroup.com.
Jason Rance here with our local tax expert and advocate, Greg Nunn from Nunn Better Tax Resolution. So, Greg, not all tax resolution companies are the same. There are some that are definitely not local. There are others that don't quite know what they're doing even.
Well, I tell you, these ads that all of us hear, Fresh Start program, they make you feel like, hey, man, I can just easy peasy get my tax written off. No. And I've had several clients actually come to me after going through that process, and they just get no response after a while. They're past
877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today. 1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate your car today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car, running or not, can be picked up as soon as the next day. You'll get a maximum tax deduction and a vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
I formed Davis Law Group about 30 years ago, and once I wrote my first book, it proved to be hugely popular. I decided to write then a series of books in different accident cases. I've found that having a client that is educated and knowledgeable about their particular type of case really helps the client, and also usually ends up making the case or the claim more successful. To get your free copy of any of my Washington accident books, visit WashingtonAccidentBooks.com.
Hi, Justin Shirley, CEO of State Roofing and Exteriors. With thousands of full replacements with expert craftsmanship and unbeatable warranties, we've been building roofs you can trust for over 5 decades. It's more than just a job, it's our promise to you. Protect your investment with a free Golden Pledge warranty on all GAF roof replacements over $15,000. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com today to schedule a free estimate. State Roofing and Exteriors, held to a higher standard since 1968.
Stirring fiber, exercising, frequent trips to the store for more laxatives and fiber. Sounds like your constipation with belly pain is a lot to manage. But if your symptoms that keep coming back are signs of irritable bowel syndrome with constipation or IBS-C, ask your doctor how Linzess can help you get ahead of it. Linzess linaclotide is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. It's not a laxative. It's a once-daily pill that helps you get ahead of your symptoms. It's proven to help you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually. Do not give Linzess to children less than 2. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS.
This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
Breaking news this morning, the New York Jets are parting ways with Aaron Rodgers. The team published a statement to X saying, "Last week we met with Aaron and shared that our intention was to move in a different direction at quarterback. We want to thank him for the leadership, passion, and dedication he brought to the organization." In 2 years with the Jets, Rodgers played just 18 games. He went 6-12 through 28 touchdowns to 11 interceptions.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time. From the Quantum Fiber Studio,
this is Bump and Stacy
on Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now. Herm Edwards on with Brock and Salk this morning. Some fascinating stuff from this conversation. Really good insight into what we can expect with the Kubiak-style offense. Herm also explains why he thinks the Seahawks are sticking with Gino. In fact, Curtis, let's go ahead and start there.
I think they want to win now. So you have a quarterback that's won, that's done a nice job in that division, understands the division. You got a San Francisco team that was reeling from last year. An Arizona team is pretty competitive. And the Rams were really good, right? And now the key with the Rams is there's some rumors that Stafford might not be there. I don't see that, but I mean, all of a sudden, if he leaves, you got a void. All of a sudden, and all of a sudden, you look at it and you go, oh, okay, well, Seattle has a veteran quarterback. We know the 49ers has one. Arizona has one as well. So this division has always been pretty competitive. But I think in this offense, I think Gino will fare well.
Thinks he'll fare well in this offense and thinks the Seahawks are sticking with Gino because they want to win now. Curtis, that feels like what they're obvious.
Yeah, I think so. And I think Gino has shown himself to be pretty malleable when it comes to, offenses. This is going to be his third offensive coordinator it'll be his fourth season as the Seahawks starting quarterback. And I don't think the constant change at offensive coordinator is a byproduct of his performance. I think he has performed well despite a lot of stuff that has gone on with the Seahawks offense, especially with Shane Waldron, where it just in the middle portion of games it was just completely ineffective, and outside of the scripted plays it was really hard for them to get anything going. And then with Grubb, his inexperience at the NFL level, and yet even in those two situations, Geno Smith was able to put up pretty decent numbers. His first year as starting quarterback set a career high in touchdowns, had I think 30, has set the single season record for passing yards in franchise history. So I think Gino is a guy that you can win with, I think, regardless of who your offensive coordinator is. I think that's kind of the least of my worries with Clint Kubiak now taking over as offensive coordinator is what's Geno Smith going to look like in this offense? I think he's going to be fine. I think he's going to be what Geno Smith is, and that's a good starting quarterback in the NFL. Yeah.
And the idea is that if you get the run game going, you take a little pressure off, you diversify your offense. Ideally, you cut back on interceptions and turnovers. If you did not see the interceptions thrown by Geno this year, I think a lot of people would feel slightly more comfortable. They'd know, I don't know if this guy's taking us over the top.
Right.
But a lot of teams are in that position. The key with, for instance, the Eagles is, yes, Jalen Hurts expands the run game. He adds a really dynamic threat there. That is a huge part of his game. He also didn't make a ton of mistakes, didn't make a ton of turnovers in the postseason, and that is a benefit. If you can add that, you don't need to be the best quarterback. If he could just get back some of that precision,
Exactly. And I wonder, too, if the amount of turnover-worthy throws we saw from Geno this year was a byproduct of him simply being asked to do so much this year. The run game was very ineffective throughout the season. It was not really a factor that other teams had to game plan for. It was basically stop the Seahawks passing game and you're good. You are able to neutralize this Seahawks offense. And for the most part, Geno stood tall in the pocket and delivered a lot of great throws. But there were a lot of times where he definitely was forced to do more than I think should have been asked of him. And it was in those situations we saw the turnovers happen. So put Geno in a good spot, and I think good things will happen. I think Clint Kubiak alluded to that in his conversation. I think it was with you and Bump on Tuesday, where he was like, look, we want to see improvement from Geno, yes, but we also want to see improvement from everybody else, because if everybody else improves, then Geno's going to improve as well.
Herm Edwards did say Geno is very hot and cold.
He can play action. He's going to be protected by a good running game and a good defense. His deal is, as we know, Geno sometimes is hot and cold. That's you see him when he's hot and you go, okay. And then he'll hit a cold spell every once in a while. And so, that's what you look at, and that's why you always kind of scratch your head, right? But he's proven he's a winner. He knows how to win. He understands that he deals with pressure pretty well. He just has some head scratchers sometimes. You go, really? But that's just his DNA.
Yep. I think that part of what I'm accepting about Geno is there are going to be a couple throws where I go, why? Why
Right.
did we decide that?
What did you see there, Gino?
What was happening there?
And it stinks that those kinds of throws kind of come in the red zone a
Well,
lot.
yeah, and if he didn't make them, you'd be paying him $55 million a year.
Exactly.
Just to be completely blunt, I would take a quarterback that was elite for that cost.
Yes.
Absolutely. But you don't have that right now. You do have a quarterback that can make a lot of difficult throws,
Mhm.
that can keep you at least competitive. Let's see what you can do with the roster around you. But the reason you're not paying him $55 million or the $60 million Dak Prescott is getting are because of some of those quirks and mistakes.
Exactly. And that's something you've got to kind of put up with, but also you've got to be able to surround Gino with enough talent to where when those mistakes happen, it doesn't impact the game as much as it did this season.
Mm-hmm.
Where, I mean, look, turnovers on the defensive side of the ball for the Seahawks, that's something that Mike McDonald was adamant about fixing going into this 2025 season, where he was like, yeah, we didn't turn the ball over enough this year. I think
One reason that everyone was talking about the excitement around Clint Kubiak, kind of really focusing on the run is that we're seeing so much of that in the league right now. There is a resurgence. Everything comes in waves, right? Herm Edwards talking about why we're seeing that return.
You know what's happened now in the NFL.
About why we're seeing that return.
You know what's happened now in the NFL, and if you watch it, and I've said it, first of all, the running back was devalued. Well, that's changing. Why? Because of the pass. And because there's so much is stressed on the passing game, and they split the tight ends out. Now the linebackers have to be able to play in space. So what happens is when you start running the ball and pounding them, it becomes kind of a weak
Solution, but the NFL's been here before.
right, we're back, baby.
NFL's been here before.
Right, we're back, baby.
It's all C11 personnel. Get out of here.
Pretty soon we're running wing T. Pretty soon we're running wing T.
Yo.
We're running triple option. It's
it.
going to be great.
Get those bare
I mean,
fronts.
we've already gotten back to the tush push. That was like the infancy of football.
Yeah, but the thing is, people are mad about it because it works so well, though. But things, why are you mad about something that's so quintessentially football?
Right, because back then everybody was 150 pounds and
Right.
had a second job working in the coal mine.
Yeah, and now this Eagles
and had a second job working in the coal mine.
Yeah, and now this Eagles offense is collectively
350 pounds. Everybody's just moving bodies left and right.
1,000 pounds. I don't think it's a coincidence that's where Seattle wants to go. I don't think it's a coincidence that they were so heavily intrigued by Kubiak's background. You heard Herm say, there's some wet.
I wonder how much pressure is going to be on Ken Walker and Zach Charbonnet this season.
A ton.
I think so, especially Ken Walker, because has he shown enough seasons in the NFL? He had that 1,000-yard season as a rookie, but then ever since he's been in and out of the lineup with injuries, and when he is in, he's not hitting the hole. He's not but are you that running back anymore? And then Zach Charbonnet, are you that running back anymore? And then Zach Charbonnet heading into year 3 had that really good game against the Cardinals last year, but other than that has not.
What I mean is, and again, I'm not an analyst. If Bump was here, he'd do a much better job explaining. But what I mean is, hey, we're gonna trust. That you can have patience here, find the lane. Cut back when you need to. And I do not pretend to is going to matter a little bit. More, and there is a little more on their shoulders.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that plays out. That would require me interviewing these guys and being like, well, tell me what you're supposed to do here. But it does sound like they're
of your run game. I mean, of your run game. I mean, it's so interchangeable too. Look at what the 49ers have been able to do, even in the absence of Christian McCaffrey. guys like Jeff. Yeah. Guys like Jeff. Yeah. Even when you don't have that superstar, this running back, or this offense has benefited, and then all of a sudden Arian Foster at the time was probably the best running back in football for a 2-3 year stretch. So I'm not saying that is what could.
Questions for Herm didn't necessarily.
That is what could.
Questions for Herm didn't necessarily have much to do with the Seahawks, but it was very much about the two teams we saw in Super Bowl 59 being juxtaposed. It's a fascinating conversation that I like having.
How come?
How come?
Because at the end, when you think about football, you put a lot of pressure on that quarterback, and you can say you got to look. Here's A+. Quarterback can't run, and you can say you got to look. Here's A+. Quarterback can't run. He can't catch it. He can't catch it. He can't block. A+ quarterback. Patrick Mahomes. He can't block. A+ quarterback. Patrick Mahomes. He can't block those guys.
Right.
Can't block those guys.
Right.
He can't block them. It don't matter. You can have A+ quarterback. He can't block them. It don't matter. You can have A+ quarterback.
Versions of it, and we've seen versions of elite defenses lifting up bad offenses. We've seen versions of elite defenses lifting up bad offenses. There's this kind of feeling we have of this: if someone is special enough, he can make magic happen to kind of make up for some of these deficiencies. That's why you're getting paid this much. However, Herm makes it clear efficiencies. That's why you're getting paid this much. However, Herm makes it clear. I think it's become clear that sometimes that's just not enough. It truly isn't.
To turn that down.
Okay, how about how about this, Curtis? Would you rather have? I think the 2013 Seahawks roster was not the best, most talented roster. Derek Carr as your quarterback
in 2013.
Derek Carr as your quarterback
in 2013.
Let's just pretend right now for the 2025 Seahawks. I'm like, okay, I'll give you the 2013 Seahawks roster, but you've got Derek Carr as your quarterback, or. Well,
I think I might go with the 2013 roster. I think I might go with the 2013 roster and Derek Carr is my quarterback. Which is crazy to say because Derek Carr is back. Nowhere.
Jalen Hurts on the 2013 Seahawks would have won a Super Bowl.
For sure.
So I was trying to think of something worse, but you start looking at the pieces. Herm said the roster.
And I mean that's just kind of what every team is hoping to build, right? That's what every head coach is looking for heading into a season. It's just I want the best dominant in every other area.
Let's get to 4-down territory.
This is This is 4-down territory, going inside the game. With former Seahawks and Coug wide receiver.
You had Joe Burrow coming off an MVP caliber season, putting some pretty public pressure. Seemingly on the front office. So I get that answer. But I chose two different ones. I went the Raiders for obvious reasons. These are personal. But I chose two different ones. I went the Raiders for obvious reasons. These are personal reasons. Here's the thing, though. I have no idea. Truly, I cannot fathom how they're going to address their single biggest need, which is quarterback. This is what makes them one of the more fascinating free agent quarterbacks goes there. Doesn't mean they make a big trade. Doesn't mean they make a big trade to really try to take one of those top two guys. There's a lot of question marks around how exactly. So that is going to change a little bit. But after the season we just saw from Jaden Daniels, you really do wonder how close are they to being a Super Bowl team. They're probably going to have some regression with that offensive line. Maybe you spend some of their weapons and capital this offseason because they have quite a bit.
Second down. Stacy, there's a bit of irony to the Seahawks.
Was when he said a version of.
Bit of irony to the Seahawks.
Was when he said a version of. We're gonna run the ball.
We're gonna run when teams.
We're gonna run the ball.
We're gonna run when teams know we're gonna run.
We're gonna run when teams know we're gonna run. Now.
Teams know we're gonna run.
We're gonna run when teams know we're gonna run. Now, at the time, the idea of stuff started. People were like, People were like, give the ball to Russell Wilson and let him pass. You've got these great weapons. You invested this, money in your wide receivers. Like, what are you doing? Like, thank God, Clint. What are you doing? Like, thank God, Clint wants to run the ball. Wants to run the ball. It's ironic.
We've come full circle.
The context. It's ironic.
We've come full circle.
The context of when both of these hires were made. And the strengths and weaknesses.
Offense in New Orleans and
the strengths and weaknesses.
Offense in New Orleans and found a pretty cool stat. What is it?
Speaking of running the ball, this was from Benjamin Solak, and it was written back in September when the Saints were starting, and he found the difference in their personnel groupings. The 2024 Saints were using 11 personnel just 22% of the time. That was the lowest in the league by a wide margin. They were not leaning on in New Orleans. They really leaned on those bigger personnel packages. 12 personnel, they used 36% of the time. 21 personnel, almost 30% of the time. But also kind of personnel, almost 30% of the time. But also kind of exactly that. That's absolutely what they did. He also, in 2021, adapted to the strengths of that team and did exactly what he needed to do, and it was a solid season from Kirk Cousins.
Fourth down.
One from yesterday because we mentioned it briefly, but it's okay because we don't have a ton of time. Alex Rodriguez was my number one answer. I wanted to find something more unique or maybe someone that I really loved and had started to dig.
That's how you're doctored into Seattle sports fandom.
And then I saw this man on the red carpet taking a knee to take pictures of J-Lo, and I thought, man, that's likable.
Yeah, I mean, the way the relationship ended, a little messy, but
yep.
Alex Rodriguez, I've also come fully around on him.
Timeline coming your way when it comes to Kubiak's offense.
You have to be bought in to blocking. You have to be a good blocking receiver if you want to play in this offense and if you want this offense to go. A lot of the formations we're going to see out of this Kubiak offense, the receivers are going to be up tight. They're going to bunch them up in a 2x2 stack, maybe in a bunch formation, and try to set the edge with those receivers.
4 Down Territory every day at 11:15 and 1:15 on Bump and Stacy.
This might be the most surprising statistic I've shared in decades of doing local news. More than 75% of commuters will be involved in a car accident at some point. JP Pendergast of Pendergast Law with more.
What makes it more surprising? The average person will be involved in 3 to 4 collisions in their lifetime.
With accidents unbelievably prevalent, what are some safety tips if it happens to you?
Safety first. Secondary collisions are not uncommon while awaiting help. Turn on those hazards and remain in a safe place. If a bystander witnessed the accident, capture their information and encourage them to remain at the scene. Seek medical attention immediately if needed, as delaying can be a costly mistake. Lastly, remember that statements made to police and insurance adjusters can affect your case.
Collisions are more common than we'd like to think. If you find yourself in one, follow these helpful tips and then call my friends at Pendergast Law.
If you or a loved one's injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
Pendergast Law.
There's a company that fixes all the plumbing sounds across Puget Sound. That's All Sound Plumbing. Puget Sound's plumbing experts. Have a sound? Visit allsoundplumbing.com.
Get ready for an unforgettable adventure at LeMay, America's Car Museum in Tacoma. Marvel at over 300 world-class automobiles and 100 years of history for everyone. So grab your friends or the whole family and plan your visit Thursday to Monday. Learn more at americascarmuseum.org.
Guys, did you know your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED? And right now, Revive Men's Health Seattle will check your testosterone for free. They've helped thousands of men since 2011 feel and perform better. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Schedule your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation today. Call 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen's
Decking and gutters. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com today to schedule a free estimate. State Roofing and Exteriors.
Jackson Hewitt makes taxes feel like a yacht rock song.
April breeze, give me my biggest tax refund, please. You, me, and a lifetime accuracy guarantee.
Now get $100 just to try Jackson Hewitt. Does your tax person do that?
Say goodbye to that no guarantee tax guy.
Ready to sail through tax season? Go to Jackson Hewitt and you'll be
Reeling in the refunds.
limited time offer for new clients. Participating locations only. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com.
Joe Montana here. In my football days, I knew the importance of a strong defense. Now I'm sharing how you can help defend your health against pneumococcal pneumonia and invasive pneumococcal disease. Are you 50 or older like me? The CDC now recommends vaccination against pneumococcal disease. Even if you're healthy, your age puts you at increased risk and over 6 times greater risk of hospitalization with pneumococcal pneumonia than adults under 50. Schedule your appointment today at vaxassist.com.
Sponsored by Pfizer.
Heading outdoors or on the water this weekend? Check in with Joey and Nelly on the Outdoor Line from 6 to 8 a.m. every Saturday on Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app.
We've all been there. Sleepless nights, mind racing, wondering if your business's security service is really protecting what matters. At Bay Alarm, we can put your security insecurities to bed. Video security, burglar alarms, fire alarms, access control, 24/7 monitoring, and more. Our advanced technology and personalized support ensure you can rest easy, knowing we're here for you, your people, and your business. Visit bayalarm.com to talk to a local security expert. Bay Alarm, we got you.
You leave your car running unoccupied to warm up or stay warm during the winter? Don't do it. Car thieves call those steamers. They're watching for you and they'll steal your car before you know it. Every winter, Washington sees an uptick in auto theft, and a major reason is steamers. Share this information with friends and family. Prevent the theft and keep you and your vehicle safe. Don't get caught with your car running. These tips are brought to you by the Washington Auto Theft Prevention Authority.
Mornings can start feeling the same. Wake up, brush teeth, go to work. But with breakfast from Wendy's, it's like, wake up, brush teeth, Baconate with a breakfast Baconator. Roll with the sausage breakfast burrito. Buddy it up with a honey buddy. Or get seasoned with seasoned potatoes. And then go to work. Sorry. When you're ready for a fresh wake-up call, gotta be Wendy's.
At participating U.S. Wendy's during breakfast hours.
At the UPS store, we know being a small business owner means holiday time is still go time. Still get those orders shipped time. And still re-up on stamps and supplies time. That's why this upcoming holiday, while others close up shop, we'll be open. And happy to help you keep being unstoppable. Come into your local store today. Most locations are independently owned. Product, services, pricing, and hours of operation may vary. See Center for details. The UPS Store. Be unstoppable.
This is The Timeline
with Bump and Stacy.
Brought to you by 1-800-DUI-AWAY.
It's The Timeline on Bump and Stacy. Curtis Rodgers in for Michael Bumpus today. And Curtis, we're starting our forming in football and basketball. Probably more specifically football, if he had to be honest.
Although Alabama basketball, I think they're like number 2 in the country right now.
Yes, but I'm guessing that there's some buttons that were pushed.
Team, if they storm the field or the court, they're going to lose that game right then and there. That will stop it. I'm not overly optimistic and understand it's not a popular that does not include that. I'm all for it. I'm not saying that's the only possible way. I'm convinced in my own simple mind that that would be something that would stop it.
Greg at all, actually, for being against fans storming the field, because we do know that there have been instances of fans storming that have resulted in players getting pushed, shoved, up, and feel like they can get away with anything. It does happen. I can understand an athletic director going, I don't feel like this is the safest thing. However, there are two things I don't love about the moment. Like, it, you know what I mean? Like, it's being done for a reason, and so maybe he can't understand in his more recent experience why fans would want to do that.
But this also, I think, comes from a wins and losses perspective, in that if Alabama if one of their losses goes a different way during the regular season, goes down to like
Walked it down to
downtown
the river?
Nashville, yeah, like they were going nuts, and rightfully so. They hadn't beaten Alabama in like 40 years or something like that heading into that game. So itself in the future, and if that means a game that you lose somehow gets flipped based off of technicality, and all of a sudden I wouldn't feel proud of
Or
that.
a player on the opposing team. I'm so glad that you mentioned, like, imagine this rule applying to their loss to Vandy.
Mm-hmm.
They lost. They didn't play good enough. They didn't execute the way they need team. And you're like, wait, like, really? And the thing is, if you're a player, you can control if kids rush the field. You can't control if there are drunk people, rowdy people.
It's not your
5 fans run on the field.
Does that
Is
count?
that a forfeit?
Yeah. Even though those fans are easily avoidable.
What's your minimum number of fans that storm the field? Like if a how's this rule work?
Well, and God, everybody I know that has ever stormed a field for their team, I think you mentioned you've done it, right? Was it against
Washington's
USC?
win over USC.
It wasn't much of a storming. It was more of a just like,
I'm too short for
that
that.
looks fun.
Yeah, I'm too short for that. It's too dangerous.
But everybody I know that has ever stormed the field, team in the country, and then we stormed the field and all celebrated, and we celebrated until 4 a.m. and like you're going to take that memory away. Like Burns' other suggestion where it's like maybe give it a couple minutes, allow the opposing team to get off the field, and then allow them to come onto the field. I get that your team's responsibility, your player's responsibility, or coach's responsibility to control the fans. That's building security. That's just getting Burns.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
It's a smart idea.
Right. Alabama gear, a lot easier to find than Vanderbilt gear.
Knowing that no matter what, you can ensure your team gets a win. Either I guess you have to go on a road game. It's more believable there. I was going to say, imagine a group of 15 Oregon fans at a Husky stadium. You're like, what?
Like, what are you guys doing?
I can answer that. Eagles.
Eagles?
They're crazy. Our Cowboys, our fans are deep, but they not. I don't want to say nothing crazy, but
Cowboys fan, and I hear.
Are you bothered by that?
A little bit.
Really?
If I'm hearing my star player kind of give a compliment to an arch rival, that's not fun. Like, what if?
Well, and particularly when you think of another town, that being Dallas, Cowboys and Eagles. Cowboys fans are insane. I don't know what CD's. They had a bad season. Fans are disappointed. He's not getting maybe the best. Was it Michael Kendricks who played with the Eagles?
Yes.
We had an interview with him for the Huddle several years back, and we were like, where's the, not like worst place you played, but like they will get so rude. I heard more swear words there than I ever did in my whole life. Words I didn't know were real swear words. I was like, that's a great answer. It's perfect. It makes sense. All right, coming up.
You still got things you want to improve on. Never want to be satisfied. Keep that edge to you. Sometimes you look for new swings or new things like that, but you also got to keep that edge to how you approach your off season. Just trying to do as much as you can each day to try to better yourself and get yourself prepared for 162.
Dr. Ryan Coogan with Eastside Weight Loss Clinic, and I have a plan that has helped over 4,000 people in the Seattle-Tacoma area lose up to a pound per day. No surgery, no exercise, no box package food, and no drugs or injections with potential side effects. We have a team of health coaches that can support you every step of the way. Schedule your free 15-minute, no-pressure phone consultation online at eastsideweightlossklinic.com and also see our incredible for transformations.
Yeah, Mike Salk here, and I am one of those 4,000 people. I lost 35 pounds in just 8 weeks, and it's exactly as Dr. Coogan said. I lost that weight while eating good, quality food that you buy at the grocery store, and it wasn't that hard. Call them at 425-588-0080 or go to eastsideweightlossklinic.com.
Let our proven system schedule your free phone consultation online at eastsideweightlossklinic.com. That's eastsideweightlossklinic.com.
Dr. Ryan Coogan, D.C. Results may vary.
At Sound Pain Solutions, some of the most difficult cases we see are patients suffering from failed back surgery syndrome. Bill is an avid golfer, but his pain got so bad he couldn't play and was considering surgery.
My back was killing me. I could not play any more golf. I could not walk more than half a block. I did not want surgery on my back, and I researched many different ways of getting this fixed. Behind that was horror stories from my friends who had back surgery, but it wasn't worth it, and I just made conclusion to that. There's got to be another.
Without the risk of surgery, we did this using non-invasive, FDA-cleared procedures like non-surgical decompression, laser, pressure wave, and bioelectrical treatments. Now, Bill is back to playing golf and enjoying.
Aaron Goldsmith, Gary Hill, and Shannon Dreyer.
Swing and a miss for strike 3.
Tuesdays from 7 to 9 p.m. leading up to spring training.
If you've been in a wreck
have the right to take your vehicle to any repair facility, not just where your insurance company tells you to go. Accurate Auto Body has been family owned and operated since 1994, and they work for you, not your insurance company. With over 25 years of auto repair work, they'll exceed your expectations.
We meet by accident, fixing every last bit. Accurate Auto Body.
At Accurate Auto Body, all their work is performed by certified technicians, only using OEM parts to guarantee the safety of you and your family. For the best in auto body collision repair and customer service, give them a call at 425-883-2450 or AccurateAutoBodyWA.com. Your insurance company may not love them, but you will, because
we meet by accident, fixing every last bit. Accurate Auto Body.
Pacific Power Batteries sells batteries for cars and boats and RVs and golf carts and generators and some electronics. But why us? 2 reasons. We sell freshly charged batteries that we test before we install them. Starting with a snappy new battery is good. Second thing is that our salespeople are up to date on what's new, what's a good value, and what works. Our job is giving you good battery options. So come on into Pacific Power Batteries, freshly charged batteries, and freshly educated staff selling batteries for everything.
The future is here, so why is your internet stuck in the past? With Quantum Fiber Internet, you can get next-level multi-gig speed on a reliable fiber network. Fair and honest pricing with no annual contracts or bundling required. And whole home 360 Wi-Fi to make sure your devices are ready to take you where you want to go. So you can stream, post, game, surf, like, and love to your heart's content. You do you. Let Quantum Fiber Internet take care of the rest. Learn more at quantumfiber.com. Limited availability, service, and speed in select locations only.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, you're listening to Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Feel free to join this conversation on the Mac and Jack's text line. Who has the best quarterback situation in the NFC West right now? All of them are really interesting. We were going to do this as a question earlier, and then I realized, I need more time to think about this.
Yeah. Let's expand on this.
Yeah, let's keep it going. Where do you want to start?
Let's start San Francisco because, I mean, Brock Purdy is who he is, which I think is a good starting quarterback in the NFL. But Stacy, are you paying him top of the market money?
I wouldn't want to. However, he, unlike Gino Smith, and unlike, for that matter, Kyler Murray, can point to postseason accomplishments.
Right.
And the 49ers could easily say, well, Brock, we don't know if you weren't leading the league in touchdowns. You weren't leading the league in yards. Like, Dak Prescott right now has the biggest contract in terms of average annual value at $60 million. Jared Goff has $53 million. But I don't know, man. If I'm Brock's agent, I'm going, well, Tua's got 53 per year. Jordan Love has 55. Neither of those guys have appeared in a Super Bowl.
Well, and you're already starting to see the squeeze in San Francisco with Deebo Samuel getting permission to seek a trade. I mean, there was a lot of, I don't know if hurt feelings is the right phrasing for it, but the Brandon Ayuk situation last summer where it went all the way into training camp. And now it's like Christian McCaffrey was hurt all last season. We don't know what he's going to look like. I mean, if you're the 49ers and you have had a ton of cap space over the years because of Brock Purdy being on a rookie deal, and not just a rookie deal, but a 7th-round pick deal, like all of a sudden now you're going to have to.
He is the youngest, and you can at the very least kick the can down the road.
Right.
Your cap situation changes entirely. But $55 million per year does not mean a $55 million cap hit in 2025. It doesn't have to mean that that's the cap hit in 2026. It does mean you're on the hook for that money and that your books change drastically down the road, but you can be creative in the short term.
Yeah.
So short term, my answer is still Brock Purdy.
Interesting. I don't know if he is my number one answer in terms. We saw a little bit of regression this season. He was not as sharp as he was in years prior.
Missing a ton of weapons.
Right. Deebo Samuel hurt a lot.
Brandon
Ayuk out for like 99% of the season. Exactly. Christian McCaffrey out. So I kind of wonder, like, what is he going to be when those guys aren't around anymore? And I'm kind of looking at what's the best situation, not just this year, but also like in the future a little bit too. I mean, yes, he is the answer right now at quarterback in San Francisco, but boy, it's going to be such a different landscape that they're going to have to maneuver that I don't know if they're ready for it, because it's been they went from Jimmy G to Brock Purdy. And I mean, Garoppolo got that big contract with them, but it became a contract where it was no longer close to being the highest paid in the NFL.
Who would you have as your answer? Who has the best quarterback situation in the NFC West? Again, all 4 situations are very interesting.
They are. And Matthew Stafford is one where I think if cooler heads were prevailing, that's who I would go with because of what he has been in his career and what he still kind of is right now. But again, it sounds like there might be some tension between the two sides. Stafford not happy, or at least Stafford's wife has made it known that she's not happy that Cooper Kupp is on his way out. But if he were healthy and if cooler heads prevail, I think Stafford with the Rams is where I would go as my number one situation in the NFC West. One I think everybody kind of overlooks is Kyler Murray in Arizona. He got paid, but he's only made the playoffs one time in the 6-7 years he's been quarterback in Arizona. I mean, no one is denying the talent that he has, but Stacy, I look at his career and it's like, if you're that talented, how is your team not consistently a winner?
Yeah, I feel the same way. And granted, look at Joe Burrow, an example we used earlier, right? Of like a team that just was not talented enough despite an MVP caliber season and the Cardinals have fallen into that category a couple times, but I would not pick Kyler Murray's performance in any way up with Joe Burrow's, up with Josh Allen, up with Lamar Jackson, even though he's a former number 1 overall pick and even though they paid him handsomely. I'm still kind of waiting for the short, no pun intended, stretches of success and great play that Kyler's had to extend itself over the course of a season.
Yeah.
We have moments. We have Kyler moments where it'll be like 2-3 games where you're going, hey, Kyler's quietly playing really good football.
Yeah.
And then he'll disappear.
He'll make some wild plays, but then all of a sudden he'll make just some of the most.
Well, he might have the lowest cap hit still with a new deal of all these quarterbacks, assuming Brock gets that extension.
And I think what his production is and what he's getting paid makes it a little more palatable. I think if I were to rank it right now, I think I would go Stafford 1, probably Kyler 2, Gino 3, Brock Purdy 4.
Is it that extension kind of staring you in the face, knowing you're paying him $55 and he's not an elite quarterback?
Right, exactly.
I get it. We're going to jump back to Mariners talk with Charlie Furbush. He joins us next.
The Hot Stove Show, Tuesdays from 7.
Just getting started in a way, you still got things you want to improve on. Never want to be satisfied. Keep that edge to you. Sometimes you look for new swings or new things like that, but you also got to keep that edge to how you approach your offseason. Just trying to do as much as you can each day to try to better yourself and get yourself prepared for 162.
Stay up to date on the Mariners offseason. The Hot Stove Show, every Tuesday leading up to spring training.
I've always said, the car sales in the 1980s and 1990s, earned the rep that we have today. The concerns that consumers have because of what has happened in our industry in the past, they're warranted. It's our job to show them that that's not how business is done anymore, right? It's very different business. It's much more transparent. There's much more information that's available to people. And we're much more customer focused than I think the car industry was, 20, 30 years ago. I'm more focused on providing good customer service and relationships because I think if you take care of people, money will always come. So I think just the philosophy and the focus for us has changed, where I was constantly chasing a paycheck and now I'm just constantly trying to take care of customers and employees because I know if I do that, then my paycheck will take care of itself.
The LJ way is the Lee Johnson Auto family.
We at 3 Tree Roofing understand that your home is your castle. That's why our certified technicians use state-of-the-art installation methods to deliver the highest warranties available. Check out our hundreds of online reviews and schedule a free estimate to see for yourself. 3 Tree Roofing, your Puget Sound roofing experts.
Mike Rowe here with a quick question. Is your concrete sinking? Whether it's your driveway, sidewalk, or patio, those uneven surfaces are not just ugly, they're dangerous. That's where Groundworks comes in. They use state-of-the-art concrete lifting solutions to prevent tripping hazards, and they're the best at what they do. Schedule your free inspection at groundworks.com/row. And while you're there, check out my latest dirty job. It's a good one.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for details.
Hey, it's Jason Rance. I'm here with our local tax expert and advocate, Greg Nunn of None Better Tax Resolution. When you're dealing with business owners and the idea that they owe money to the IRS and they feel like they might be letting their staff down, and it just spirals out of control.
One thing I see with businesses, it's really tough because they have employees and maybe they're having a difficult time with the cash flow of the business. Then unfortunately, what a business often does is they quit making their payroll tax deposits, which is really about the worst thing you could be doing. I mean, it's a telltale sign if you're doing that. Hey, get someone that can help you kind of look at your business and see if things can be changed so that you can operate your business better and make those payroll tax deposits. Because let me tell you this, the IRS is on those right away.
If you're having trouble with the IRS, you have to call Greg Nunn of None Better Tax Resolution. From stress to success with IRS Solutions. 425-947-1967 or Google NUNN. None Better Tax Resolution.
Georgetown License reminds parents to enroll your kids in a positive youth program. Sports, hobbies, and community activities improve overall health and performance in school. These programs decrease drug use and violence and develop self-discipline and leadership skills. Let's team together this year to help our kids reach their full potential. Best wishes to all our kids from the entire team at Georgetown License, taking care of all your vehicle and vessel licensing needs for over 30 years. Online at georgetownlicense.com.
Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest. The best place to watch all your favorite sports. Featuring wall-to-wall viewing screens, 6 windows, and 30 kiosks. Be there at emeraldqueen.com. Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest.
At the UPS store, we know being a small business owner means holiday time is still go time. Still get those orders shipped time. And still re-up on stamps and supplies time. That's why this upcoming holiday, while others close up shop, we'll be open. And happy to help you keep being unstoppable. Come into your local store today. Most locations are independently owned. Product, services, pricing, and hours of operation may vary. See Center for details. The UPS store. Be unstoppable.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer? Can we sleep cooler? Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. And now save 50% on the new Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. Plus free home delivery. Ends President's Day. Exclusively at a Sleep Number store near you. Learn more at sleepnumber.com.
Cougar basketball is back.
These guys want to get better at basketball. They want to go as far as they can in the game. They want to get their education. They want to be around each other and build a real family.
Coach Riley and the Cougs are ready.
We put in so much work all of our lives for this exact moment.
We are Wazoo. It's only on your home for Cougar basketball.
Catch the Cougs all season long on AM 770 KTTH.
This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
The Jets are parting ways with Aaron Rodgers. The team published a statement to X this morning saying, last week we met with Aaron and shared that our intention was to move in a different direction at quarterback. We want to thank him for the leadership, passion, and dedication he brought to the organization. In 2 years with the Jets, Rodgers played just 18 games. He went 6-12 in those games, threw 28 touchdowns to 11 interceptions.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time. From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bump and Stacy.
On Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now. Charlie Furbush joining us right now on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook Hotline. Let's dive into spring training. Charlie, how's it going?
It's going great. Thanks for having me on.
We're excited to have you on. Now, I can't wait to get to a conversation about this starting rotation, about the bullpen, but I'm going to start with a look at the team's offseason. It had a ton of controversy following it. I think people thought and expected that there would be more moves. Did you? I mean, when this team entered the offseason, were you expecting more, or is this a version of what you thought we'd see?
I think I was expecting a little more, but, notwithstanding, I think they are in a really good spot, right? I think the rotation, the offense will improve, but yeah, I mean, I get greedy in the offseason personally. I want to see some moves. I want to see some changes, some improvements, but maybe not what we all wanted to see across the board, but I still think that the team is in a prime position in the AL West and a prime position to get back to the playoffs.
Charlie, do you feel like the best version of this team is with these 5 starting pitchers going forward together? Like, hey, maybe the Mariners try a different path, maybe improve the offense a little bit, use one of these starting pitchers to go out and get a bat one day, because everybody kind of looks at the offense and is like, man, how do we fix this?
Yeah, I think I'm on the side of you don't need 5 up to bottom, and then once you get into the playoffs, you don't see those 5 starters pitching, in those playoff series. So you kind of take your 3 or 4 best guys and roll that way. So I definitely am on the side of you don't necessarily in how they're constructed. They don't seemingly have to be in a position to score a few more runs for these guys. That's only going to, give them more chances to win. So when you look at the rotation, you say, I think that's one of the most challenging things is to predict how healthy guys are going to be. And the more innings you throw, the more, year over year innings you throw. It's just that exactly. But when you look at the offense and maybe the lack of offense over the last few years, getting another piece, a bat that's going to help you score more fifth day is huge. So it's going to be interesting to see what will happen, this year and how things unfold, when we get to the trade deadline, if there is a move to be made.
Which one of these 5 starters has the filthiest stuff?
Ooh, it's a great question. I tend to say, I've said this with some of my kind of maybe feel like I used to pitch a little bit like him, maybe not as nasty as stuff, but, I look at a guy like Logan and just seeing is George Kirby. I think he's been so strong year over year. And I think the experience that he has and his ability to throw strikes just at will is incredible. So he's a patient. I wouldn't be surprised if they all had fantastic years and you saw 3 or 4 starters in the All-Star game.
Charlie, there was a recent study put out by MLB.com have had over the last couple of years. In fact, last year, I believe they had the fewest pitches thrown by lefty pitchers in all of baseball. You being a lefty.
No, not necessarily. I think when you're a left-handed pitcher and just left-handed in general, there's just so few of us left-handed starters. They haven't had many left-handed starters. And, the guys they have in the bullpen between Saucedo and Spire, still guys that are very capable of getting the job done. But in terms of a disadvantage, no, I don't think there was any sort of disadvantage. I know part of it too is, the park is so big, right? It's a huge ballpark, and then you add in April, it just only, I think, almost benefits you a little bit more.
Curtis, do you feel like a connectedness with Charlie because you're both Southpaws?
We are. I vision Charlie, you and me.
I'll see myself
Stacy
out. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, she can go do something else.
Yeah.
I mean, there's only 10% of humans are left-handed, so we got to stick together.
Yeah, you guys are like unicorns. Faster start. Like, it would be so huge if he could. And I think that's because both of us still see him and think, oh my God, the potential. Like the superstar potential that's here. Who, and it could be an arm too, but who's, like, in your opinion, maybe the best player you've played with? And do you see those superstar qualities or that it quality with Julio?
I do. From a talent standpoint, for sure. I'd say the best of Lee, just what he was able to do and how he was able to withstand the day-to-day mentally. I mean, that's really where he shined. Obviously, his skill set was as good as anyone, and being able to come up with the Marlins as a 19-year-old and then turn into what he turned into. I look at Julio and, getting up so early in his career and then handing him that contract and then having the expectations that go along with that. There's going to be a little bit of, I think, learning curve for him. And, the experience that he's had over the last couple of years has been great, and I think we all expect him to have that super, season where he's an MVP. It's easy to see what he can do on a day-to-day basis. So I look at all the experiences that he's had, especially last year, and having maybe a few bad weeks or months, and then turning it on and looking like the Julio we know. And then you look at the end of the year and you look at his numbers and say, well, he actually had a pretty good year, but we just expect so much of him that it's like, okay, well, we have room for growth. So I look at where he's at now, and I do see more and more big things coming, and it's just a matter of consistency and being able to not with the hitting side of things. That's only going to give him even more confidence going into this year. It's interesting because I rewind. Remember, I forgot when the Mariners went to Japan. I think it was the year maybe Ichiro retired, and they started out the season like 15 and 2 or something crazy, right? Like they were incredible, and it was like, oh my gosh, this is fantastic. This is exactly what the Mariners need. And then you saw what happened. This is exactly what the Mariners need. And then you saw what happened. They kind of faltered and didn't look like that team later in the year. So I always look at it, and just from a player's perspective, it's like we just have to stay in the hunt long enough, be there, be in the middle, get there, whatever they need to get done offensively from a pitching standpoint, and just continue to compete. And from a pitching standpoint, and just continue to compete. And when you look at the division, this division is totally gettable, and that's one thing. Just get that second division. This division is totally gettable, and that's one thing. Just get that second or first or second wild card spot.
So on a very related note, I got this question from a listener a while ago. I thought it was a great way to look at the season and what needs to happen, so I'll throw it your way. If we tell
winning the close one-run ball games, I think that is winning the close one-run ball games. I think that's going to be something the Mariners are always going to be in. They're going to be in close games. We always pitch, and the Mariners are always going to be in. They're going to be in close games. We always pitch well, but it's going to be those clutch, late in the game hits that put the team over the edge. And when you look at the one-run games and you go, okay, I mean, I think even when they made the playoffs back in 22, their record in one-run games was awesome. And I think to be able to get back and have those games that you can win late in the game, that's just humongous momentum.
Interviewed Dan Wilson with Bob last week, 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
Anything from that conversation that you've kind of been replaying in your mind since about this?
To take this team to the playoffs, which I think he almost did in a way, but this year, what I'm most excited about is to really see the Dan Wilson era, this excitement yet calmness about what's happening, because he's been there. He's seen so many baseball games and seasons work out or not work. Beloved Mariner legend. So I'm just so excited to see what he's going to bring to the table, and the decisions he's going to make when it's who am I on a day-to-day basis, and get to know them and bring the best out of them is something I'm just excited to see.
Hey, Charlie, my last question for you is kind of a weird one. It's not about the Mariners at all, but it is about probably if you want to compete with them, then spend. And then fans are like, it's not fair. What do you make of what they're doing? Like, how do you feel about it?
I think their bank account is much larger than most teams, if not all of them. So I'd look at what they're doing, and I think, it's certainly a way that you can, from a player standpoint too, is that you're giving a player in a way taxes that they're going to have to go through on a year-to-year basis, but you're also creating this immense culture of winning, and that's what players want. Players want to win. Have the best baseball player in the world on your team. That's another thing, and it's fascinating. It's frustrating. But, I kind of have to tip my cap.
I did go back down memory lane with the 2019 Mariners.
Oh, my God.
I immediately pulled up Baseball Reference because I wanted to double check, like, okay, how far did they get? Okay, third.
Tim Beckham.
Jay Bruce.
Jay Bruce,
I don't know why.
Both those guys were balling to start the season.
It was I do not know why. It was just
God.
this. Maybe we had conversations about him. I don't know.
That 2019 team, I'm just looking at the roster now. We're going to remember some guys here for a quick second. Was hitting the ball well before they traded him. Ryan Healy was on that team. Like you said, Jay Bruce. Boy, Shed Long.
Oh, man. Yeah, it's also
Keon
weird.
Broxton? I don't remember that at all.
You know what's really wild, too, and does add, as much as we complain about this team, I do like to balance it out. But it is wild, the group that they've assembled here.
Right.
And it's the best group of starters that I can remember watching as a fan. I'm sure there are better groups that, you
basically made it through that entire season with 2 full-time starters. Marco
Yes.
Gonzalez, who gave you 200
Justice
innings.
Sheffield, or was it the next season he took off?
It was the next season in 2020. Career 1-8 that season. And then you had just a million other guys make starts. They used a bunch of openers that season. Yeah, it's great perspective. Beyond Marco Gonzalez. Like, now it's like, you just got to get the fringes right, and all of a sudden you're cooking with grease.
Listen to the WAR of the following. Baseball Reference WAR for Logan Gilbert, 2.8. 1.9, George Kirby. Bryce Miller, 3.4. 1.8 for Luis Castillo. 2.4, Brian Wu. Like, it's just the impact.
Headline rewrites.
We must make headlines.
The real story behind the headlines in today's news with Bump and Stacy.
$49 million in dead cap and 6 wins.
Yeah.
Look.
It's not ideal.
It's not ideal.
Especially what you paid to get.
If you weren't with the Jets during our rebuild, then don't join us during our rebuild.
Okay, let me talk about that too.
Yes.
Jets fans love. You didn't win at all. You did nothing with those first round picks.
I think it's just being able to claim a win. Adams got 9.5 sacks in his first season.
He did.
It did not work out. In hindsight, it was a bad trade. But the Jets did not become a better team.
Right. Congratulations. You still have the what's the real headline?
I finally understand how a lot of guys felt when Margot Robbie got married. You knew it would never be you. But you thought there was a chance.
Maybe if we're just in the same place, a chance of that happening.
But it was fun thinking that it was possible.
It was.
I liked living in the the where Alex Bregman could have been a Mariner.
Yeah.
You know?
Always hold on to that hope.
Because it was just, you'd go to bed at night.
Come true.
Unfortunately.
And it wasn't going to happen.
Coming up next, another Seahawks coaching hire, plus another frustrated quarterback. Don't go anywhere.
The John Schneider Show.
Every Thursday. Sox organization. I have to keep wrapping my mind around that and trying to communicate effectively.
Listen live Thursdays at 4 p.m. or watch the interviews on the Seattle Sports YouTube page.
What's the standard the Seahawks defense needs to be held to under Mike McDonald?
The John Schneider Show.
Brought to you by Pizza Hut.
Xfinity here. How can we help?
Hi. My daughter invited her entire class to her birthday party. Can my Wi-Fi handle it?
Oh, well, at Xfinity, our latest gateways have tri-band Wi-Fi technology, letting you connect hundreds of devices at once.
No way. So if all the kids are watching stuff on their phones, well, their parents are sharing videos online.
Yep, go ahead and watch videos. They can all do their thing and party their way. No problem.
Oh, we are gonna need a bigger cake.
Now through March 4th, get fast, reliable Xfinity Gig Internet for $25 a month for 1 year with no annual contract and Wi-Fi equipment included when you add an unlimited mobile line. And ask how to get an eligible free 5G phone with trade-in. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Restrictions apply. Requires pre-postponed and auto-pay stored bank account. Taxes and fees extra. After promo, regular rates apply. Xfinity Internet required. Reduced mobile speeds after use of monthly data included with your data option. Data thresholds and actual internet speeds vary.
Hey, Brock Hewitt here for my friends at PCF Group, or People Come First Construction Group, and that's exactly what they did when we made the call a couple years ago. We wanted to redo our outdoor space, wanted to add a deck, an outdoor living, a television, and a kitchen. And PCF Group, wow, they more than delivered. And if you're interested in building a stunning outdoor area like we did, I cannot recommend them enough. Reach out before the good weather arrives, and their schedule, well, it's going to fill up. So whether you're looking for a complete outdoor living space or a very specific project like an underdeck ceiling, deck, patio cover, railings, PCF has you covered. Design now and pay later. In fact, get 12 months, no interest and no payments, and up to $6,000 off and a $1,000 Amazon gift card. Request that complimentary design and estimate consultation today at 206-992-0364, 206-992-0364, or project ideas, explore photos at PCFgroup.com, PCFgroup.com.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers.
T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it. Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with Turbo Power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/choice55 to learn more. With AutoPay plus taxes and fees, plus $5 per line without AutoPay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. Motorola Edge on us with 24 monthly bill credits and new line for well-qualified customers, plus tax and $35 per line connection charge. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
I started Davis Law Group in 1994 to fight for the underdog. And as our team has grown, we've stayed true to that mission. Today, Davis Law Group is known for providing excellent service and even better results. Visit WashingtonAccidentBooks.com to get your free book on car accident law.
At Lake Washington Windows and Doors, we are committed to giving you quality workmanship and white glove service that exceed your expectations. Get our exclusive leak armor installation backed by a lifetime warranty. Choose Lake Washington Windows and Doors, a name you can trust.
For Down Territory, going inside the game with Michael Bumpus.
I like this. More quarterbacks should start doing this.
Every day at 11:15 and 1:15 on Bump and Stacy.
Do you need a new roof? Don't wait for summer to replace it. 3 Tree Roofing is here to help you save big this winter. Avoid summer's higher prices and longer wait times and protect your home's integrity now. Visit 3treeroofing.com for your free on-site estimate. Our certified installers make it easy and worry-free, no matter the season. Don't wait. Book your estimate today at 3treeroofing.com. Mention this ad and get $500 off your roof replacement. 3 your Puget Sound roofing experts.
Start the year fresh with Washington Energy's New Year, New Home Sales event. Upgrade and save 15% on energy-efficient Bryant heating systems for your home. Keep cozy and safe this winter storm season with 15% off Honeywell whole home generators. Prepare for spring with 15% off beautiful Anderson windows and reliable Simonton doors. All on sale now for a limited time. It's the New Year, New Home Sales event with Washington Energy Services, bringing good energy to your home.
Jason Rance here with our local tax expert and advocate, Greg Nunn from None Better Tax Resolution. So, Greg, not all tax resolution companies are the same. There are some that are definitely not local. There are others that don't quite know what they're doing even.
Well, I tell you, these ads that all of us hear, Fresh Start program, they make you feel like, hey, man, I can just easy peasy get my taxes written off. No. And I've had several clients actually come to me after going through that process, and they just get no response after a while. They're passed around from person to person. That doesn't happen at my firm.
You are familiar with the cases that come in. You're working on them.
I'm familiar with every case that comes into our office, and I know what's going on and have the ability to really advise our taxpayers very well on what to do.
If you're having trouble with the IRS, then call Greg Nunn. None Better Tax Resolution, from stress to success with IRS Solutions. 425-947-1967 or Google NUNN. None Better Tax Resolution.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bump and Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Another Seahawks coaching hire. Seattle is bringing in Justin Outen from the Titans to be their run game specialist. He was the Broncos offensive coordinator in 2022. Curtis Rodgers in for Michael Bumpus. Curtis, any reaction to this hire, or just kind of like, oh, cool, let's see what happens?
I like that they're picking at the carcass of the 2022 Broncos, the team that the Seahawks Broncos team. I think that it makes that trade even more in the Seahawks' favor. So that was my one takeaway from this. I don't really have any other takeaway. I mean, this defense as we've ever seen in Philadelphia. So it's all just more about timing and situation for a lot of these coaches. But I mean,
it's not like there wasn't a decline with Russell Wilson that we could see here in Seattle, but it was not the steep fall off that happened. I mean, and granted, there's a lot of issues around him. Maybe it was a Hackett situation, offensive line injuries, some wide receivers went down, and I understand it, but
I don't think Nathaniel Hackett was able to put him in a situation where he could get the ball out quickly because he took a large number of sacks that year, right in line with his career totals here.
Is more shocking to you what Russell did transitioning from Seattle to Denver, or Philip Grubauer
signing that 6-year deal and then just immediately being bad?
Off.
There was at least a moment, whereas Russell Wilson had no moments in Denver.
Yeah,
I think Russ is a little more stunning.
Yeah. Next up here, the full list of NFL Combine.
Very interesting. I think whoever does take Travis Hunter, you got to probably try him out at least at both spots.
Oh, for sure.
But can you justify ahead of Sauce Gardner?
Derek Stingley might have been the last top 3 pick as a defensive back, if I'm remembering. Unless I'm blanking on something.
He was the number 3 overall pick by the Detroit Lions.
For as much praise as we give the Lions, and they really nail it on a few of these. That one, it just doesn't.
Right.
All right, we're moving on here to our next story. ESPN's Mike Tannenbaum says Joe Burrow is starting to sound like another former Bengals quarterback who...
Why would he say it? Because I agree, the details, I kind of get the sense of hey, we're a good team. We have really good players. What are we doing? The way Joe Burrow...
This is, in effect, an ultimatum?
I don't know, Chris. I felt like it was sort of heading that way.
Carson Palmer, I think it's kind of the back T. Higgins, and they don't bring back Jamar Chase because the Bengals historically have been a very cheap franchise. The fact that they were able to, if the Bengals are kind of playing with fire here, because Joe Burrow holds a lot of power, not just with Cincinnati, but across the league. 30
running back or a disgruntled defensive end to say, hey, I can't win here. You guys need to do more. I think fans get incredibly protective of people they feel are, what are you guys doing? I know that you don't like to cave to what a player might think, but you have something a lot of other teams don't, to your point. Other teams would be lining up for him.
Cannot be a franchise and be well, you should be so lucky to be playing for us. It's no, you guys have been historically one of the back as good as Joe Burrow and wide receiver as good as Jamar Chase. I mean, Chad Ochocinco and Carson Palmer came somewhat close, but neither of those guys got anywhere close to a Super Bowl.
Earlier in this segment, you playoffs at all after dealing Adams, while the Seahawks did technically get to the playoffs. It's just Jamal Adams didn't end up being a star. Someone said, okay, well,
they didn't make the playoffs with Russ. They made it without Russ.
Not only without Russ, without the same head coach.
Yeah. They had to clean
moved
house.
On from everyone, and they absorbed a ton of dead cap. Last one here from NFL Network's Mike Garafolo. For the second straight year, the Athletes First Agency has told all 32 teams that their NFL draft prospects will not be participating in any cognitive...
I forget what other cognitive tests they have them take, but it always is a bummer that the bad Wonderlic scores get put out there. Somebody got a 6.
And I think that there's a lot of assumption of a low Wonderlic score. That has not been indicative. I mean, Vince Young, who would you rather have as seconds to the side? And if your whole argument is going to be, well, Michael Vick might be dumb, he can't read defenses, every single player and every single quarterback is going to evolve as a passer, and they're going to learn a lot.
In Wonderlic history, that was in 1975. Mike Mamula was a defensive end taken 7th overall. He got a 49 out of 50. Never made a Pro Bowl. And Fitzpatrick got a 48. And then Ben Watson, the tight end, got a 48. None of those guys are Hall of Famers. Some had some decent careers in the NFL, but there's no correlation between
territory. Going inside the game with former Cougs and Seahawks wide receiver Michael Bumpus.
What's something everyone needs to be bought into when it comes to Kubiak's offense?
You have to be bought into blocking. You have to be a good blocking receiver if you want to play in the receiver.
For Down Territory, every day at 11:15 and 1:15 on Bumpin' Stacy.
Exciting personal news. I happen to be driving a brand new Bronco Sport from Wayscar Ford. The bad news is I spent way longer than I anticipated at the dealership because I truly couldn't decide. It's not my fault. They have so many options at amazing prices. Mark, what gives?
Well, we have a lot of inventory right now, Stacy, and they're priced to sell.
Compare our prices to our competitors. Make sure that you check out what rebates that the dealers are putting on their pricing, because you probably won't qualify for a lot of them. The rebates we have online on our prices are ones that everybody qualifies for. We don't play games, there's no gimmicks, and there's absolutely no pressure, and it's all backed up by a 5-day or a 500-mile, 100% money-back guarantee, and our new cars come with a lifetime powertrain coverage. Buy with confidence. We'd love to see you.
So wayscarford.com. Again, those prices are for real, like Mark said, and I'm really glad I did it. It was worth the trip to go out there. Your staff was so incredibly nice, knowledgeable, and accommodating. That's Wayscar Ford in Auburn, wayscar.com.
This is Matt Coker from West Coast Men's Health. Has Viagra stopped working for you? Do you hate the side effects? If you've taken Viagra for any length of time, you already know that pills are not the solution to ED. Here at West Coast Men's Health, we have a better approach to ED. Acoustic wave therapy creates blood flow circulation by safely removing the plaque in your arteries and restoring function naturally. No pills, no shots, no surgery. We can also treat Peyronie's disease. Our non-invasive treatment for ED is painless and highly effective. We have treated thousands of men just like you. Stop living with this problem and do something about it. Do yourself a favor, do your partner a favor, and call us today.
Call 206-519-6541. That's 206-519-6541. 206-519-6541. Online at westcoastmenshealth.com. HSA cards welcome and financing available.
ZipRecruiter is the place. ZipRecruiter is the place for talented teachers, savvy software developers, and master mixologists. ZipRecruiter is the place where you meet all these people and more. That's because ZipRecruiter is the place for job seekers who are looking for new opportunities. In fact, ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day, so you can find the right candidates right away. It's no wonder that ZipRecruiter is the place for skilled skydiving instructors, accomplished airbrush artists, and proficient pediatricians. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter to hire, you're missing out. ZipRecruiter is the place that's so confident it can make your hiring easier that it lets you try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. So if you want the right candidates for all your roles, ZipRecruiter is the place to go. Try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
Are you constantly dealing with a runny nose, allergies, congestion, sinusitis, or postnasal drip? Hey, it's Dr. Ryan Stern of the Stern Sinus Center. Rhine Air is a simple, non-invasive procedure that significantly reduces your postnasal drip and stuffiness. We're proud this year the Stern Sinus Center was just named a nationwide center of excellence. We're also excited to welcome another allergy surgeon and ear surgeon to our practice. Schedule your appointment in Auburn or Federal Way or go to sternsinus.com.
The John Schneider Show.
Every Thursday until draft day on Wyman and Bob.
Listen live Thursdays at 4 p.m. or watch the interviews on the Seattle Sports YouTube page.
Hi, Justin Shirley, CEO of State Roofing and Exteriors. With thousands of full replacements with expert craftsmanship and unbeatable warranties, we've been building roofs you can trust for over 5 decades. It's more than just a job, it's our promise to you. Protect your investment with a free Golden Pledge warranty on all GAF roof replacements over $15,000. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com today to schedule a free estimate. State Roofing and Exteriors, held to a higher standard since 1968.
We meet by accident, fixing every last bit, accurate auto body.
If you've been in an auto accident, you have the right to take your vehicle to any repair facility. Accurate Auto Body has been family owned and operated since 1994, and they work for you, not your insurance company. Your insurance company may not love them, but you will, because
We meet by accident, fixing every last bit, accurate.
Slasher Comms, space operas.
Free to fill your feed with impossibly chunky chunkers.
Cats, corgis, babies on demand.
Free to make your smart devices do silly things.
Bowl of chips on the Robo Vacuum.
Free to open a world of remote work and Gametopia.
Who's the boss now?
Free to be everything you imagine. That's how it feels to have Quantum Fiber Internet. Your world unleashed. Learn more at quantumfiber.com.
limited availability, service in select locations only.
This is Steve Almond at Pacific Power Batteries. We have a message about charging lithium-ion batteries.
Be very careful. On our website, we show you how to prevent fires or explosions by not using some aftermarket chargers or charging below 32 degrees. New battery, new charger, charge it outside in a sealed container or while you can watch it during the day. Please visit our website, PacificPowerBatteries.com, for more tips to avoid a fire or explosion. Yikes!
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Coming up in less than 15 minutes, Dave Wyman's going to join us in studio. We'll dive right back into Seahawks. Before we get to it, we're heading to the station for Hype Train. Had for Herm Edwards earlier on their show this morning. Great interview where they said, would you rather have an elite roster with an okay quarterback or an elite quarterback, most talented, deepest roster in the NFL? I'm just laughing at the Hype Train. Any starting quarterback from or Jets fans are, kind of getting away.
Who are they to say that they won the Jamal Adams trade?
Now, given that, this sounds crazy, but our second Hype Train, the Seahawks. Now, given that, this sounds crazy, but our second Hype Train, the Seahawks won the Russell Wilson and Jamal Adams trades.
I mean,
be careful
look,
here.
Yes, the Seahawks had to incur a large dead cap. I'm going to be an unabashed homer here and say, yes, the Seahawks won both of those trades. I'm boarding that train, Matt. Give me the horn. Because
Wilson performed
but at least they
better.
made the playoffs.
I applaud your argument.
Thank you.
And I also, there is a little bit of judgment for Jets fans. They're like, yes, they made the playoffs. I get it. I completely understand. But you gave up 2 first-round picks. One of those first-round picks the Jets used ended up becoming an offensive rookie of the year with Garrett Wilson. And TBD with 9.5 sacks, breaking one held by a division rival, an Arizona Cardinals. So there's that. And I do think that Jamal Adams' issue was that he couldn't stay on the field. It wasn't that he was never a good player. When the Seahawks traded for him, he'd only missed 2-3 games ever.
Yeah, he was a model of
Had been a
health.
first-time All-Pro. But I cannot in good faith say the Seahawks won. I can't. I applaud their aggressiveness. The trade still stings. I cannot do it. I do think that they won the Russell Wilson trade. Absolutely. Next up. Julio Rodriguez has been getting off to slow starts in his career in the Hype Train. Julio gets 5 home runs in the month of April. That almost matches his career total.
That's exactly why I put 5. Because, I mean, it's in the month of April. They do have a nice little road trip, though, at Cincinnati, at Toronto, at Boston. I think he can make up a lot of ground on those 5 there. I'm going to finally rid the moniker of a slow starter and get off to a good start in the month of April.
I want and need Julio to do this.
Yes.
I'm not boarding this train. I mean, to make it fun, I'm not boarding the train. If Julio hits 5 home runs between March and April, how many games in March? 2? 3?
Just 4
series?
games.
Okay. We'll bring in lunch for our show.
Wow.
Yeah. Breakfast, I'll bring in donuts. I'll order us pizza.
All
We'll
right.
have a little party. We'll have a celebrate Julio. 5 home run Julio party.
Let's go, Julio.
Herm Edwards joining us now.
I think they want to win now. So you have a quarterback that's done a nice job in that division, understands the division. You got a San Francisco team that was reeling from last year. An Arizona team is pretty competitive. And the Rams are really good. Seattle has a veteran quarterback. We know the 49ers have. Arizona has one as well. So this division's always been pretty competitive. But I think in this offense, I think Gino will fare well.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Get ready for an unforgettable adventure at LeMay, America's car museum in Tacoma. Marvel at over 300 world-class automobiles and 100 years of history. Don't miss the Shinka exhibit, featuring nearly 50 iconic Japanese sports cars. Feel the thrill of driving a Formula One car on the exhilarating race simulators. There's fun for everyone, so grab your friends or the whole family and plan your visit Thursday to Monday. Learn more at americascarmuseum.org.
What is that sound? Ugh, that sounds like a plumbing sound. Luckily, there's a company that fixes all the plumbing sounds across Puget Sound. That's All Sound Plumbing. Puget Sound's plumbing experts. Have a sound? Visit allsoundplumbing.com.
Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest. The best place to watch all your favorite sports. Featuring wall-to-wall viewing screens, 6 windows, and 30 kiosks. Be there at emeraldqueen.com. Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment.
They've helped thousands of men since 2011. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it.
Call Revive today and schedule your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation. Call Revive Men's Health at 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit revivemenshealth.com.
Hey, it's Mike Salk here for Riverside Roofing, and we all knew it was going to come sooner or later. Yes, the dreaded snow. It's back, and it's wreaking havoc. So if you're seeing damage or leaks in your roof, call Riverside Roofing and have them come out and fix it now. They've worked with a ton of local homeowners, including me, lots of Seattle sports listeners, and helped keep their homes dry and warm through the winter. There's nothing worse than a problem with your roof. So if you've got a flat one, this snow is especially dangerous. Well, Riverside Roofing will help you clear it off as soon as possible. You don't want to risk climbing up there yourself. You want to let the experts do this. So let Riverside Roofing get up on top of your house, onto your roof, clean it up, and make sure your roof is ready for the snow and heavy rains and everything else that'll be coming this winter. That's why Riverside Roofing really is the roofing company you can trust. Call them at 425-949-8252 or go to riversideroofingllc.com, the roofing company you can trust.
Xfinity here. How can we help?
Hi. My daughter invited her entire class to her birthday party. Can my Wi-Fi handle it?
Oh, well, at Xfinity, our latest gateways have tri-band Wi-Fi technology, letting you connect hundreds of devices at once.
No way. So if all the kids are watching stuff on their phones, while their parents are sharing videos online.
Yep, go ahead and watch videos. They can all do their thing and party their way. No problem.
Oh, we are gonna need a bigger cake.
Now through March 4th, get fast, reliable Xfinity Gig Internet for $25 a month for 1 year with no annual contract and Wi-Fi equipment included when you add an unlimited mobile line.
Snapshot. A big free agent pickup late last night. The Boston Red Sox signed Alex Bregman to a 3-year, $120 million contract. ESPN's Jesse Rodgers said that $40 million per year salary is $10 million more per year than other teams were offering. After playing primarily at third for the Houston Astros, Bregman will be the primary second baseman for Boston.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time.
Curtis, just tell Wyman what you said.
My take is that, can you really say the Jets won the Jamal Adams trade? Because they still have the longest playoff drought in North American pro sports.
So his take is that the Seahawks won the Jamal Adams trade because the Jets never actually made the playoffs.
And they didn't get better.
Quite mad.
I'm a renegade in my thought.
You know, it's funny. I kind of look at it that Jamal Adams was so good. I get people will text in here. People will text in our show of what an idiot I am. At the time, man, I remember that when he got here, that was 2020. So there was nobody at practice.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I was on some list where, because of timing and everything, I got to go down and watch him. And what was he, number 33, I think?
Yeah.
Right.
Whatever his number was, I was like, who is that guy?
Yeah.
And I knew who it was, obviously, but I was like, look at him. He was incredible. And then, you know, that first year, I'll never forget that sack he had against the Commanders where he's like 12 yards deep in the other hook and the zone, and he chases him out of bounds on the other sideline, tallying one of his 9.5 sacks, I think, which is a record for DBs. And so, I don't know, he played so well, and he just...
A lot of GM who was like, man, what if I'm this safety away from a Super Bowl team? I'll give up 2 first-round picks for that. He's a first-team Super Bowl team. I'll give up 2 first-round picks for that. He's a first-team All-Pro. He's missed a game or two in his career. He's 26 years old. He's a former 6th overall pick. We'd never have a shot at that guy. I can see the logic.
Yeah. You know, the other thing I would compare him to is he's a lot like Witherspoon the way he played. He just was always playing just a little bit faster than everybody else. So, yeah, that's good. Good take there, C.
Thank
Raj.
you. Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, I think if you go back and look at, you know, what they got out of him, that first year was great, but then after that, it's too bad. And the thing I always say about that is it's such a shame because you look at some of these players, I've always so envied guys like Larry Fitzgerald and Carlos. These players, I've always so envied guys like Larry Fitzgerald and Carlos Dansby that played like 17 years and missed like 6 years over my career, 10 games out of 16. So I just always got hurt. So, yeah, I wouldn't have drafted me.
On that Joel Embiid workload
Yeah.
management.
Yeah.
Load management.
Yeah.
Dave Wyman was a pioneer of load management.
Before the NBA
poster
even
boy.
caught on, yeah.
Dave, Clint Kubiak hired this, well, he's been hired for a couple weeks now, but introduced to the Seattle media a couple days ago. Got a chance to speak to Bump and Stacy on Tuesday. Anything in that press conference that has just kind of been replaying in your head that you heard was like, oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, there was a couple of things. One of the things is what Mark Schlereth, who we have on every week during the football season, ex-offensive line. Everybody take their pads off, go over, sometimes helmets, but, and then, execute the second half of the season or the practice with, just in your jersey and pants. So, you don't. It limits the the possibility of getting hurt, but it also the benefit is that you're getting full speed fits. Like an offensive lineman, you need to know if you're going to run a certain play and you got to chip a guy, and you need to know how hard do I have to hit him before I go up to the next level, or see how that happens. And that's just something that has not been going on in the NFL, and I think it's really important. So I don't know, if they're going to do exactly what they did. I know that there's all these rules from the NFLPA, but I just think it's making football worse by not practicing more. And you just, in order to get in shape for football, in order to execute football, you have to play football. And that's not football when you're out there with just your, shorts and jersey on.
It's so interesting that it's coming at a time, too, when the NFL is leaning more towards, like, no, we're getting back into the run. We're getting back into these, like, big personnel packages. And it's like, if you want to reintroduce toughness, but your rules are getting stricter every year, how is that supposed to work?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess maybe push the edge, or maybe there's, a way to practice. I think Pete was always really good at that, but... Yeah, I don't know. I think it's something, but I do like the fact that I think he said something about, the fullback making the comeback and how defenses are getting turbine on yesterday. But you're looking at, remember Derek Coleman?
Oh,
yes.
Yeah, who was hearing impaired.
Yeah.
He was a fullback. And then, going back, John L. Williams, of course, Max Strong, and some of the fullbacks just around the league. And I think there's about half of the teams that have fullbacks. So, I wonder if that's going to be a trend to get back to that. I always feel like everything that comes out of the Super Bowl, there's always some kind of a trend that everybody's going to copycat, like what won the Super Bowl. And, obviously rushing 4 and dropping. I thought that was genius by Fangio, dropping 7 and making, Mahomes have to sit back there in the pocket. And then they just got so much pressure on him. And so there's that. And just the physicality of the two lines that, I think it was Daniel Jeremiah was talking about how their front 4 defensively, how good they are. But he said like their second string front 4 are like almost as good as like what the Seahawks have. So, I mean, the depth there and, subbing those guys in and out and just offensive line play, just the trenches. That's kind of what I feel like came out of the Super Bowl, that's who wins games.
Can I ask a follow-up for your takeaway about rushing 4? The wildest stat to me was without blitzing, 6 sacks on Mahomes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how? Is it just when you watch it as someone who knows and understands, a former player, is it just, the edge rushers just, they were so effective? Or was there something you saw from Fangio where you thought, this is tricking Mahomes, this is tricking the Chiefs, this is brilliant?
I would love to come up with something like that, but like what I saw from the Chiefs, I mentioned this yesterday or 2 days ago that I remember as a player, or you'd get a rating for every play, and there was NRP, and which means not ready to play. Meaning you're not.
That's worse than an F.
Oh my gosh, that's what their offensive line looked like. I mean, Creed Humphreys is a good center, and that there was a sack that I think it was Sweat. It might have been. Was the one guy Milton Williams?
Yeah.
I mean, he had, I think, a sack and a half. I mean, it was just they were just getting whooped. And then, they had Travis Kelce trying to chip. He obviously can't block anymore. So, and I think it was Mark Schlereth that told us that he's like a tell. I mean, that he's not going to be blocking.
Yeah.
It's kind of remind me of Sean Alexander a little bit. He wasn't great at catching the ball, and he wasn't great at all at blocking.
Yeah.
And so when he's in the game, it's a run.
What's happening.
Yeah. So, I think Kelce getting older, and they asked him to do things. But, man, it just looked like they were confused. And when you only got 4 guys and every single time, I mean, I guess there wasn't a blitz, which technically 5, right? There wasn't one the entire game. So, yeah, but pretty amazing. I don't know what to say about Kansas City's offensive line because they were seen to be. And by the way, I think it was on an 88-yard field. Because I walked that field.
Wow.
And this was 1986 because I walked that field.
Wow.
And this was 1986 and a game in Japan. I was like, there's no way this is a regulation field. And I was like, there's no way this is a regulation field. but yeah, I mean, so the third time I played once with the Seahawks, we played the Niners, and then I can't remember who this rookie trying to make the team. The opening kickoff, he ran down and splattered the returner, like one of the best hits I've ever seen on a kickoff in a preseason game. And then, you know, he was just quiet, and yeah, he became offense really made him into the player that he was. But yeah, you started to see I don't know. I think it was more of like a relief for Elway because he had a run game and he wasn't asked to win every single game.
Kind of related question, which is unrelated to Clint Kubiak and the stuff that is probably more relevant for us right now. But you mentioned Davis is kind of, this unlikely guy. If you take a trip down memory lane, who's a guy that ended up becoming great? And when you were first introduced or saw him, you were just like, I'm unimpressed. Who's this guy? And then he just completely proved you wrong. Like, who's the guy you were most wrong about that you either played against, played with?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I thought I was a pretty good evaluator of, like, I would say the best thing I can remember are guys that would show up with this big upper body. And I'm sorry, I'd always look at their legs and ass. And there were always those guys that were all beefed up.
Skip leg day.
Wow, that guy looks good. And then
like Tony Mandarich was a guy like that. The incredible bulk.
Yeah, he started lifting on his lower half. But I remember that going. And then, you know, as I got wiser as my career went on, I would see those guys and go, all right, let's see his ass. There was more of that than the other way around. But yeah, I like to think like Cortez Kennedy, like right away. But yeah, I mean, Terrell Davis, certainly one of those guys too, where, like I said, 5th round drafter choice, I think, from Georgia. So yeah, I mean, but yeah.
How important is this year for Ken Walker and Zach Charbonnet, especially because you're inheriting a scheme that on paper should be like Terrell Davis. We brought up Arian Foster's name earlier in the show because he played under Gary Kubiak, Christian McCaffrey in San Francisco. How important is this year for those two?
It's kind of like who are they right now? Because K9, he had the year prior really good, or was that his rookie year?
Rookie season.
Yeah. So, you know, at first I was like, don't be cutting it back too much. Just take what you could get. And then he started making plays. You go ahead. But then it kind of last year got back to he needed to be more downhill. And then Charbonnet, I think, is still a little bit. I roast and pull. And so, I mean, I think it's this offense hopefully will help those guys. Because look at what Shanahan's running. I'm not going to say it's exactly the same. But and that's what I'm hoping is that this scheme that they run offensively is going to bring out everybody's best traits. Like in that game against Arizona, I thought we're seeing, but then lots of other times he didn't look his best. So hopefully that will be the case, and you know, they'll get the best out of these guys with that run game.
The first one is going to be tomorrow. So just a programming note for you guys. Very excited.
That are making it, and you get penalized for having a good season, who are drafting at the back half of the first and second round. How did they do? And if you go and look at some of those drafts, it's like, who is that guy that they drafted? Go and look at some of those drafts, it's like, who is that guy that they drafted in the first round of the second round? I mean, they're just gone. So everybody has those kinds of mistakes. And I think that's really the only way you can evaluate the draft, because I still used to say it's a crapshoot. Now I'm like, the more I get to know John and the more I understand, you know, kind of what he's doing, not really, but it is tough. You never know what's going to happen with a player coming from college. I think it's the hardest transition in any sport, going from college to pro.
Last one for me. What do you make of Clint Kubiak coming in here and surrounding himself with a lot of veteran coaches on that offensive staff?
Yeah, and I think in the news was Rick Dennison. and he was a linebacker with the Broncos. News was Rick Dennison. And he was a linebacker with the Broncos. I don't know. I think they're interviewing him. I'm not sure what's going to go on there. I used to hang out. I think they're interviewing him. I'm not sure what's going to go on there. I used to hang out with Rick and Gary Kubiak when my last year in the league, because we were about the same age. And, we would go on the road together. And I remember one time we went to a racetrack, and I don't know, I just ended up hanging out with the coaches. They were like special assistant coaches then, but they were around my age. And both of those guys, I love those guys. So I would love to see I don't know if Rick Dennison's going to get hired here. He's like he has a master's in electrical engineering or something. And
nerd.
Yeah, seriously.
Incredibly.
As soon as he gets here, we'll shove him in a locker.
Yeah. Well, he used to play linebacker in the NFL, so probably not.
I got to work on
he's
some
a bit
squats.
Crazy.
Yeah. So he's insane.
No,
Yeah,
I'm just, to finish up, I'm really excited to see getting a fresh set of eyes on this offense and these players.
This is not my question necessarily, and I actually have to let you go, and this is going to make me go over. Would you agree that linebackers overall are the craziest position group? I initially thought tight ends, but the text line was like, it's absolutely linebackers.
Hung out with lots of linebackers, absolutely the craziest. Yeah. I can tell you about a guy named Del Detweiler at Stanford. There's lots of things that I can't say or tell you, but craziness, no question.
He is Dave Wyman. He'll be on air with Bob in a little over 30 minutes. Thanks,
Stacy, brought to you by Caesars Sportsbook at Muckleshoot. Now, here's what's on tonight.
Team USA takes on Finland in the NHL's four-nation face-off tonight at 5. He joins us next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob.
Herm Edwards joining us now.
I think they want to win now. So you have a quarterback that's won, that's done a nice job in that division, understands the division. You got a San Francisco team that was reeling from last year. An Arizona team is pretty competitive. And the Rams are really good. Seattle has a veteran quarterback. We know the 49ers have. Arizona has one as well. So this division's always been pretty competitive. But I think in this offense, I think Gino will fare well.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Two explosive bands. One massive night of alternative rock. Lit. Fuel. The Ignited We Stand Tour hits Muckleshoot Event Center Wednesday, February 19th. Get your tickets now at muckleshootcasino.com. Lit and Fuel. Light up the stage. February 19th. Only at Muckleshoot Casino Resort.
There she is, founder and CEO. High five.
Dave can't stop celebrating with every business owner in town.
All right, Baker Man, high five.
He's sharing the excitement of big savings with the Comcast Business 5-year price lock guarantee.
Ooh, up top, bike shop. Yeah.
It's 5 years of gig speed internet.
Quick, high five.
5 years of advanced security.
5 years.
And 5 years of a great rate that won't change.
Yeah, law partners. Chamberlain, Messelthorpe, Dubois.
All from the company with 99.9% network reliability. Switch today and get the 5-year price lock guarantee.
5 years.
It's back, but only for a limited time.
Woo!
Powering 5 years of savings, powering possibilities. Comcast Business.
Can't forget you, voiceover guy.
Ah, thanks, Dave.
High five.
Ends 3/9/25. Guaranteed rate applies to monthly service charge for new customers on qualifying internet bundle, excluding taxes and fees. Other restrictions apply.
The county just requested more electric charging stations.
Orders have really amped up at Able Electric.
We need 3 more at First and Main, and we just got another hotel chain.
It's no shock. Able Electric needs able electricians.
Grocery store wants charging stations too.
And fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Put our matching platform to work so you can spend less time searching and more time connecting with talented candidates. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Whoa, it's you, the Capital One Bank guy.
That's what they call me.
Mind if I get a selfie?
Yeah, sure thing. Say no fees or minimums on your Capital One checking account.
Wow, that's a keeper. So, where are you heading?
I'm off to spread the good news that Capital One helps people keep more money in their wallet with no overdraft fees.
Oh, you're the best Capital One Bank guy.
Hey, mind if
Dell Technologies is celebrating with anniversary savings on their most popular tech. For a limited time only, save on select next-gen PCs like the XPS 16, powered by Intel Core Ultra processors and more. Plus, curate your dream setup with great deals on select monitors, mice, and more must-have electronics and accessories. When you shop online at Dell.com/deals, you'll have access to leading-edge technology to match your forward-thinking spirit and free shipping on everything. Again, that's Dell.com/deals.
The noon hour of the Bump and Stacy Show is powered every day by the caring and compassionate team at Pendergast Law Personal Injury Lawyers. Go to pendergastlaw.com.
Hey, Brock Hewitt here for my friends at PCF Group, or People Come First Construction Group, and that's exactly what they did when we made the call a couple years ago. We wanted to redo our outdoor space, wanted to add a deck, and outdoor living, a television, and a kitchen. And PCF Group, wow, they more than delivered. And if you're interested in building a stunning outdoor area like we did, I cannot recommend them enough. Reach out before the good weather arrives, and their schedule, well, it's going to fill up. So whether you're looking for a complete outdoor living space or a very specific project like an underdeck ceiling, deck, patio cover, railings, PCF has you covered. Design now and pay later. In fact, get 12 months, no interest and no payments, and up to $6,000 off and a $1,000 Amazon gift card. Request that complimentary design and estimate consultation today at 206-992-0364, 206-992-0364, or project ideas, explore photos at PCFgroup.com, PCFgroup.com.
The future is here, so why is your internet stuck in the past? With Quantum Fiber Internet, you can get next-level multi-gig speed on a reliable fiber network. Fair and honest pricing with no annual contracts or bundling required. And whole home 360 Wi-Fi to make sure your devices are ready to take you where you want to go. So you can stream, post, game, surf, like, and love to your heart's content. You do you. Let Quantum Fiber Internet take care of the rest. Learn more at quantumfiber.com. Limited availability, service, and speed in select locations only.
I just had Asset Roofing come out and do a full inspection on my roof because I wanted to be proactive and handle any small problems before they became big problems, and they were extremely professional with their communication and recommendations. You really need an expert on your side, and Asset Roofing is on mine. Allow them to work for you, too. You can find out more at AssetRoofingCo.com. That's AssetRoofingCo.com.
Certified work that's never in doubt. Asset Roofing, excellence is on the house.
This hour is brought to you by Mazda of Everett.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bump and Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
ESPN senior NHL writer Greg Wyshynski joining us now on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook Hotline. Hey, Greg, how's it going?
It's going well. Excited about tonight. Get a glimpse at what the U.S. has in store for this tournament after Canada set the bar last night. Boy, did they. Jeez.
Anyone excited to watch that, by the way, taking on Finland, 5 p.m. Pacific on ESPN. Greg, I'm going to start with kind of a big question, but it's frankly the one that's most interesting to me, and that is the kind of maybe pressure that's facing this Kraken front office. When the Kraken initially got here as an expansion franchise and are now in the place where you're looking at, well, you need to meet expectation. You need to be competitive. So when you look at this front office, at the moves that, I mean,
I think that at this point we could say that the Philip Grubauer signing was a mistake, despite a brief uptick in the playoffs one season, obviously. We're there through the expansion draft, some of the early free agents, They're all after the season kind of heading to and what the roster looks like, and you start to have to really make some tough decisions on some familiar players because obviously it's not progressing forward the way it should be at this point.
To a lot of us who have watched this team, it just doesn't feel like there is really a core group of guys that they're trying to build around.
Foundational franchise players. I think Matty Beniers is obviously someone that's going to be here for a really long time, but you ask around the league and they see him probably cast better as you win, but it does remind me of, the criticism that came to say like a player like Ryan Nugent-Hopkins with the Edmonton Oilers for a long time, drafted highly, what was never a superstar, but one year I think to quiet his critics. And so there's some pieces there, but like you said, overall, what is the next wave of this team going to look like? But like you said, overall, what is the next wave of this team going to look like? what is it going to be? And I think they found two pieces on the blue line in Larson and Montour that are going to be here longer than now in theory. But as far as what the 25 and under group is going to look like, I couldn't tell you.
One season turnarounds in the NFL, or here's how these teams separated themselves. And the feeling I get as a far more casual hockey fan is just.
I mean, I think the ones that go years without doing it is because of either really bad draft lottery luck or abject mismanagement. And so Ron Francis's vision for this team, the effectiveness of the moves that he's made, and whether or not, in the long term, he's the right guy when Don Waddell was there and Eric Tulsky was working underneath him. So in more of a macro sense, around, unless you're a team that can be a destination for free agents, for example, like the Rangers clearly were able to turn things around because they managed to attract Artemi Panarin and Adam Fox and bad for a while and amass players that you're going to be able to control contractually for several years when they're young.
You mentioned Ron Francis's team building philosophy. It kind of slow build, but never really made any sort of aggressive moves to put them over the top, because it feels like, here in year 4 that people are maybe starting to lose a little.
Kind of circulated in the rumor mill recently. And you have to start kind of being more aggressive and dealing away some veterans and getting some prospects, getting some picks, and doesn't necessarily that, could make a difference for you. So it's tough. I mean, when you bring in so many players in the first couple of years of this franchise through the expansion draft and through after that, it's tough when you feel like you're climbing the mountain and then all of a sudden you're tumbling down the hill. You know what I mean? So they have to kind of assess where they are and assess where they're going and assess.
All-Star game, and finally we saw it last night. Let's talk Four Nations face-off. USA taking on Finland tonight at 5 p.m. And what an awesome follow.
It replaces the All-Star game this year. Was going to seem like an All-Star game, but there was hitting and there was passion. It's a good reminder that, when you get guys like Sidney Crosby or Matthew Tkachuk to put on their nation's sweat, you want to see two things. You want to see the way that the scoring lines operate together. It's when you throw Austin Matthews and Jack Hughes and Jake Garrity, Tkachuk, Dylan Larkin, players like that, then all of a sudden they're going to be playing down the lineup fewer minutes and in kind of maybe a different role, maybe more of a checking role. The key to beating Canada, and so I'm intrigued to see against a Finland team that I think the U.S. is much, much better than, what that looks like now in an actual game.
He is senior NHL writer.
I mean, I'm happy to turn the page. I just wish we had something to turn the page to.
There you go.
And we don't.
Oh, well, there's always next year. Always.
To them that, nothing you say can hurt me.
Yes, it's like Mariners fans.
Right.
They are the Mariners fans of football. And you could argue that that's the Browns, but I think it's the Jets.
I think it.
Forget. But it's just so much suffering. There's
it's
so
endless.
much of it.
And
It's
there's
constant.
no end in sight. Yeah.
Never. Even when you think, we have a Super Bowl roster. We did it. We really did it. Your quarterback gets hurt in the first game.
He's talking about how much ayahuasca he takes in the offseason.
God love Greg. What I need to know is coming your way next.
Seattle Seahawks.
How we doing, football fans?
With Seahawks President of Football Operations and General Manager John Schneider.
My job is to do what's best for the Seattle Seahawks organization. I have to keep wrapping my mind around that and trying to communicate effectively.
Listen live Thursdays at 4 p.m. or watch the interviews on the Seattle Sports YouTube page.
What's the standard the Seahawks defense to under Mike McDonald?
The John Schneider Show.
Brought to you by Pizza Hut.
Stacy Ross here. If you're like me, you've been putting off getting a new car for years. Maybe you don't want to take time to shop or you don't feel comfortable with more spending, and I totally get it. But I finally had some repairs for my car that felt like too much to overcome. So I just pulled a new vehicle, and I knew just where to go. Wayscar Ford in Auburn. I went over the selection of new and used cars at wayscarford.com. There are a ton of Ford models like Broncos and Escapes, but also models from Keep, a company that's been in business for over 100 years in Auburn. I ended up with a 2024 Bronco Sport, and I'm obsessed. In hindsight, I cannot believe I didn't do this sooner. So head to Wayscar Ford.
Watch all your favorite sports, featuring wall-to-wall viewing screens, 6 windows, and 30 kiosks. Be there at emeraldqueen.com. Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest.
Has snow or ice damaged your roof? You need help removing the snow off of your flat roof? Well, call the experts at Riverside Roofing, 425-949-8252, or go to Riverside Roofing.
Bonneville International radio station contests are open to participants 18 years of age or older that are residents of Washington State unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contests are not eligible to win unless the station otherwise specifies at its own discretion. Persons who have won in the last 60 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. Full general contest rules are available on seattlesports.com or in person at the station during regular business hours.
Subscribe to the Seattle Sports YouTube page to find new and exclusive content from your favorite shows and personalities daily. Just head to YouTube, search Seattle Sports, and click subscribe.
Choose the right flooring for your home, right in your home, with Floor Coverings International. They bring a mobile showroom to you, loaded with samples of carpet, LVP, hardwood, laminate, tile, and more. So go see them at the Northwest Remodeling Expo at the Seattle Convention Center February 7th through 9th, or at the Seattle Home and Garden Show at Lumen Field February 20th through 23rd. Earn a $250 gift card good on any project when you book a free in-home consultation. Floor Coverings International, the stars of flooring.
Xfinity here. How can we help?
Hi. My daughter invited her entire class to her birthday party. Can my Wi-Fi handle it?
Oh, well, at Xfinity, our latest gateways have tri-band Wi-Fi technology, letting you connect hundreds of devices at once.
No way. So if all the kids are watching stuff on their phones, well, their parents are sharing videos online.
Yep, go ahead and watch videos. They can all do their thing and party their way. No problem.
Oh, we are gonna need a bigger cake.
Now through March 4th, get fast, reliable Xfinity Gig Internet for $25 a month for 1 year with no annual contract and Wi-Fi equipment included when you add an unlimited mobile line. And ask how to get an eligible free 5G phone with trade-in. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY or visit a store today. Restrictions apply. Requires PayPal and auto-pay stored bank account. Taxes and fees extra. After promo, regular rates apply. Xfinity Internet required. Reduced mobile speeds after use of monthly data included with your data option. Data thresholds and actual internet speeds vary.
We've all been there. Sleepless nights, mind racing, wondering if your business's security service is really protecting what matters. At Bay Alarm, we can put your security insecurities to bed. Video security, burglar alarms, fire alarms, access control, 24/7 monitoring, and more. Our advanced technology and personalized support ensure you can rest easy, knowing we're here for you, your people, and your business. Visit bayalarm.com to talk to a local security expert. Bay Alarm, we got you.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
It's what I need to know. Get your questions, any question you have, to the Mac and Jack's text line, 866-979-3776. Let's see, what I need to know. We were talking about players where you initially had like
one thought about him.
One thought about it, and then it
completely
changed. I think someone was curious if Dave would say Brian Bosworth, but
yeah, I mean,
I was thinking more the opposite. Like he had some attention, obviously,
sure,
when he came in. I was thinking of more like, who's this dude? And then he ends up like when Chris Carson was in training camp. I specifically remember an interview when Doug Baldwin was like, "You guys should see Chris Carson. He's looking really good." No one was talking about Chris Carson because he was a 7th rounder.
Right, and then burst onto the scene.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people were put off by Brian Bosworth when he got into the NFL because, like you said, I mean, that dude's reputation preceded him. Like, he was one of the most popular college football players of all time. Kind of polarizing, almost like a Johnny Manziel type in the 80s. And then him having just all the injuries in his pro career and then getting trucked by Bo Jackson on Monday Night Football. Everybody's kind of like, good, like, serves you right. And then it's kind of like, well, I mean, it stinks that he had all these injuries, and people have kind of come back around to him. He had a Hollywood career. He's now in the Dr. Pepper commercials, the ones that play during college football season. I forget what it's called. He's like the cop in those. But I think Brian Bosworth, people have come around to him. He seems like a likable dude.
Someone said, so 866-979-3776, before I get to our next question, someone opined, our worst pick ever is Brian Bosworth. You guys
He
took-
was a supplemental draft pick. He
Also,
wasn't necessarily a
Aaron Curry was 3 overall.
yeah, and you had Dan McGuire taken in the first round at a quarterback spot there. Rick Meyer was not great. Yeah, you've had worse picks than Brian Boswell.
There aren't like atrocious, incredibly costly ones, because even like one of the worst picks under John Schneider, Willie McDowell, was still a second rounder. It ended up having this weird domino effect where
Right.
was that when they ended up having to trade Jermaine Kearse to the Jets to bring in Sheldon Richardson?
Yes.
Like it had a weird domino effect where you had to make
Maybe
some
at
other
the
moves.
time he was the worst pick in Seahawks history just because they didn't have a ton of history
Yeah.
at that point. I think they'd only been around maybe like 15 years or so as an organization. And everybody I named came after that pick. But yeah, I think now.
That wild card series, even in a bad way, that series against the
Yeah.
Houston Astros to follow, I'll remember that forever. It was my first time as a teen, as an adult, watching a playoff series that I actually had memories of and enjoyed. Again, for anyone who was too young in 2001 or certainly in 95 or even not alive then, would you rather be able to talk to animals or any book you touch, you immediately understand it without second guessing it's the second one?
Yeah, I mean.
Why do I want to talk to animals?
Yeah, animals don't. That would not really benefit you a lot.
When I watch, I don't know if anyone watches The Boys. Matt, I'm sure you do. Who is Chase Crawford's character? I think Chase Crawford, he's like the Atlantis man, the water man.
Oh, the deep.
Worst power. Easily the worst power. I mean, like, you can talk to sea animals. Cool. That's awesome. They can, like, work for you and do your bidding. But, like, way cooler powers out there to have than talking to animals. I think it would be nice to socialize more, personally, for myself. You know? I feel like a social fulfillment from that, but...
Your choice is talking to any animal or the power to read. And I already have the power to read.
No. But
I like reading.
This is the
But
power to, like...
understand every book.
If you touched a physics book in a second, you
become an
understand
expert.
everything in that book. That's so cool.
I would much rather talk to a whale than know physics.
I still don't
Wow.
understand Interstellar. I want to be able to just grow my brain. What animal would you talk to, Matt?
I think maybe whale. Thank
Ooh, great question from Curtis.
Oh boy. Okay. I don't think I'd be able to take that.
What if he's just like, hey, you give me a roof and food?
A human.
You might need Ken Walker's stats, maybe from his rookie season for this one. Who can claim the best 5-game stretch, says the 206. Rashad Penny.
I think he ran for close to 200 yards.
The yards per carry was also crazy. It
Yeah.
wasn't just like they were constantly pounding the rock. It was like he was
And
breaking
then-
off crazy runs.
And then we never heard from him again.
and then well, this has been Bump and Stacy. Thank you to Curtis Rodgers for
Hey.
helping out for the last 2 days. Bump is back tomorrow. Curtis isn't going anywhere.
I'll still be here.
He'll still be here. For Curtis Rodgers, Matt Nelson, I'm Stacy Ross. Wyman and Bob coming your way next.
That guy's got no ass. I'm sorry. I'm going to whoop him every single time.
And did you?
Yes.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob.
Herm Edwards joining us now.
I think they want to win now. So you have a quarterback that's won, that's done a nice job in that division, understands the division. You got a San Francisco team that was reeling from last year. An Arizona team is pretty competitive. And the Rams are really good. Seattle has a veteran quarterback. We know the 49ers have. Arizona has one as well. So this division's always been pretty competitive. But I think in this offense, I think Gino will fare well.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Hey, it's Jason Rantz. Our local tax expert Greg Nunn wants taxpayers to know the IRS is now going after older cases very aggressively. If you received Form CP-504 from the IRS, do not ignore it. Be proactive and resolve your situation with Greg Nunn, N-U-N-N, None Better Tax Resolution.
What is that sound? Ugh, that sounds like a plumbing sound. Luckily, there's a company that fixes all the plumbing sounds across Puget Sound. That's All Sound Plumbing. Puget Sound's plumbing experts. Have a sound? Visit allsoundplumbing.com.
Swedish Cyberknife has been serving the Pacific Northwest with innovative and compassionate care since 2006. Being able to precisely and accurately deliver radiation makes a difference in terms of controlling cancer and reducing the risk of side effects. The treatment is completed in only 5 sessions, lasting less than an hour. Patient surveys consistently give Swedish Cyberknife the highest of rankings. Swedish.org/cyberknife-prostate. Treat prostate cancer with Swedish Cyberknife.
Guys, did you know your testosterone affects everything in your system, including how you feel and perform every day? Right now, Revive Men's Health Seattle will check your testosterone for free. Knowing your T levels is the first step in understanding if you have low T. Your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED. Maintaining an appropriate T level can change your whole life. Most men start to see changes in their hormone levels in their 30s. Experience and results matter. So what are you waiting for? Get your T levels checked today by local, experienced, and trusted men's health experts. They've helped thousands of men since 2011. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Call Revive today and schedule your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation. Call Revive Men's Health at 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit revivemenshealth.com.
Hi, I'm Tyler, and I want to share my awesome experience we just had with Window Nation. When we bought our home in Edmonds, Washington, we noticed some of the windows needed to be replaced. Our living room was cold and drafty in the winter, and it was hot and stale in the summer. But after a lot of research and a few bids, we chose Window Nation to replace our windows. From the first consultation to the final installation, their team was professional, friendly, and incredibly knowledgeable. Window Nation offered a wide variety of high-quality, energy-efficient windows that not only look great, but we immediately noticed the difference in the comfort of our home. And the best part was the installation process. The crew arrived on time, worked efficiently, and they left our home spotless. It's the best home improvement project we've ever done.
Call Window Nation today and see the difference. Right now, save 60% on all windows and pay nothing for 2 years. Visit windownation.com or call 866-90NATION to schedule your free in-home estimate and get 60% off. That's windownation.com.
Jackson Hewitt makes taxes feel like a yacht rock song.
April breeze, give me my biggest tax refund, please. You, me, and a lifetime accuracy guarantee.
Now get $100 just to try Jackson Hewitt. Does your tax person do that?
Say goodbye to that no guarantee tax guy.
Ready to sail through tax season? Go to Jackson Hewitt and you'll be limited time offer for new clients. Participating locations only. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com.
At the UPS store, we know being a small business owner means holiday time is still go time. Still get those orders shipped time. And still re-up on stamps and supplies time. That's why this upcoming holiday, while others close up shop, we'll be open. And happy to help you keep being unstoppable. Come into your local store today. Most locations are independently owned. Product, services, pricing, and hours of operation may vary. See Center for details. The UPS store. Be unstoppable.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest. The last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
Designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying. Just beautiful.
Whatever you love, find it on eBay. eBay. Things people love.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds. With that kind of money, you could go big time and switch to the expensive shampoo with amino acids. Sure, you don't know what those are or why you need them, but it sounds very impressive. And if you switch and save hundreds, you can massage it into your scalp every day. Now, if only you can get people to lean toward your head to smell those aminos. Switch to Progressive and you could save big time.